Eyes wide open, the clock don't rest. Street lights flicker, got a blade in my chest. Not fear, just thrills as the steel shines thin. In the glow of my insomniac, sit and spin. Late night cuts where the stories begin. Fingers on fire and the metal's my kin. Stream it live where the fearless win. This is Juvan's night flick, sit and spin. Glit in the dark, oh the dance so slick. The edge does the talking, every sound it clicks. World's asleep but the shimmer won't fade. Precision's my game and the craft's my blade. Late night cuts where the stories begin. Fingers on fire and the metal's my kin. Stream it live where the fearless win. This is Juvan's night flick, sit and spin. Under moonlight, the sparks they fly. Sharp as my wit, slicing through the sky. The rhythm of midnight, sharp edges sing. Tuned in, live to the late night king. Drip of the blade, it's a beauty so raw. The curve, the balance leaves the world in awe. Restless minds find their solace in steel. Craft in a story no day could reveal. Late night cuts where the stories begin. Fingers on fire and the metal's my kin. Stream it live where the fearless win. This is Juvan's night flick, sit and spin.
Late night, patty whack, give a dog a bone. Grab a snack, sit right back and never be alone. It's time for Insomniac, sit and spin. A knife live stream and a gathering of friends. Insomniac, sit and spin is about to start. So come on in and do your part. Juvan's Night Flicks is the channel you seek for new knife reviews and a show every week. Fight. Insomniac, night, patty whack, give a dog a bone. Grab a snack, sit right back and never be alone. It's time for Insomniac, sit and spin. A knife live stream and a gathering of friends. Insomniac, sit and spin is about to start. So come on in and do your part. Juvan's Night Flicks is the channel you seek for new knife reviews and a show every week. Fight. Insomniac, night, patty whack, give a dog a bone. Grab a snack, sit right back and never be alone. It's time for Insomniac, sit and spin. A knife live stream and a gathering of friends. Fight. Fight.
Welcome to Javon's Night Flicks. 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 The live streams popping, the comments are rocking, and Insomniac's favorite, no need for 'em knocking. You are now in the sit and spin, I'm at it again. About to hit you with some slapping content. Look at my pocket, I got a piece is full of the ops. Welcome to Javon Night Flicks. 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 I have insomnia, I know what the hell I'ma do. Might just watch me some Javon on YouTube. Flip on the flicks, just sit and consume. Grabbing my knife and I'm flipping it too. Up on the screen I'll be seeing the crew. My daily carry is sharp and it's true. It is a purpose, so what do you do? If you are new, then let me tell you. Welcome to Javon Night Flicks. 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 Welcome to the sit and spin. Hope you in the pocket, taking over YouTube. Ain't no way to stop it out the front. What you want, you can get your favorite one. I'm the Knife King, baby, you know where I came from. Here for the cutlery, passing with brotherly love at the front of me. Keeping my company sliced through the night, and I'm giving them bloody knees. Keen and I'm crispy and cutting so comfortably. Javon Night Flicks.
Insomniac sit and spin about
Sun went out because we only had a little bit, but are you high on cigarettes? And when that stuff runs out, you're gonna wanna make it. Are you high on cigarettes?
Let's watch Javon's Witness and get high on cigarettes. Let's watch Javon's Witness and get high on cigarettes. Let's watch Javon's Witness and get high on cigarettes. Let's watch Javon's Witness and get high on cigarettes. Do you know that you're right or wrong? 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 He don't smoke 'em, but he loves it when you do. That's why he's high on cigarettes. And if you find him, you should light him up a few. He's getting high on cigarettes. Let's watch Javon's Witness and get high on cigarettes. Let's watch Javon's Witness and get high on cigarettes. Let's watch Javon's Witness and get high on cigarettes. Let's watch Javon's Witness and get high on cigarettes. Do you know that you're right or wrong? Do you know that you're right or wrong? Do you know that you're right or wrong? Do you know that you're right or wrong?
Now this is the fear snake, the most venomous snake in the world. One bite from him and it's all over. No worries, mate. Luckily, we've had the anti-venom sent from America via FedEx. In my line of work, if you're not absolutely sure, you're absolutely dead. Oh, crikey. It appears we've used a different courier who hasn't arrived yet. It's okay because...
Hey guys, I hope y'all can hear me. I've got our first guest backstage. Let me turn off my intro music. Can everybody hear me? I know my mic's been acting crazy. StreamYard's been crazy ever since YouTube's little weird outage. I'm going to bring up friend of the channel, fantastic maker, Mr. Gary Creeley. What's up, Gary?
Good evening.
You happened to see my private message because it was showing that you were backstage, but you weren't connected.
Yeah, I had turned off the camera before it started.
Start off by showing this guy off.
I did not see her direct. Oh, very nice.
Got a little deep concealment carry clip on it. It already rides perfectly in my back pocket. One thing about this knife in the unboxing, and that should go live in a couple of days, but the swells in your handle make this small knife compared to my Jacob Creates Chickadee and other small knives feel considerably larger just because you get such a good purchase on the grip.
Mm-hmm.
And it is so sharp. You can tell you sharpen knives.
Yep.
There's a
Yep.
lot of cutting in the unboxing that shows just how sharp it came. But thank you for letting me try this out. And in about a week, I'll have a full review for everybody. This is the Minnow, guys, from Creeley Blades. This one's in Magna Cut.
Is it a Magna Cut or Magna Max?
Magna Cut.
Oh,
And
Magna
it's
Cut.
done very, very well. That's buddy. I'm stoked to try it out.
Cool.
It's
I
just
thought I said Magna Max, but I guess not.
it's just no, it's perfect. And these, if I'm not mistaken, these are 3D scales, right?
3D printed carbon fiber infused.
Right.
Filament. Yeah.
Because they don't feel as light as I would have expected, but they do feel the combination of the girth to the scales and the comfort plus the weight. It's just perfect for this little knife. I can't wait to show it off at Knives and More. That store that I work part-time. I'm actually off tomorrow. I take off Wednesdays. But I'll be back there Thursday.
The G10 scales are exactly dimensionally the same. Besides being $30 more, they're also noticeably heavier. I bought some of this stuff, ball chain, I think they call it.
Right.
I don't know that they're going to come with it, but I may. Maybe we'll see.
It's perfect size for a neck knife, and I personally do not mind when a knife comes without any type of clip because I'm a weird pocket dropper guy, and this fits perfectly. A long, deep concealment carry clip. Some people don't like this. The reason I do is it rides in my pocket deep, and I have plenty of room to get my thumb around it. Hold on. I have plenty of room to get my thumb around it so it doesn't hinder me taking it out of the sheath.
How you like that, Kydex?
I love it. It's perfectly, the retention's fantastic. There's absolutely no rattle. At first, I thought the holes were going to be challenging, but since you've got these channels, it gives you not only plenty of room to get your hardware through, but it gives you a lot of flexibility in the type of mounting system that you can use. However, this is the perfect size for a neck knife. I don't like a neck knife myself.
I don't know. I've not worn one much. I don't know. I don't mind the ball chain. It reminds me of my childhood.
And the ball chain's the safe way to go. We talked about that during a previous live because if it happens to get hung up on something, it's kind of like a dog safety collar, right? It's not going to hang you up.
Right. That's why I looked it up, and it's not super expensive. It's U.S. made. There's a factory, I think it's in New York. And I got like a whole roll of it. And so, yeah, it wasn't at a ton of cost. I don't know if I'm going to send it with everyone, but like at the shows. What I'm thinking about doing for Blade Show is maybe like making some sort of interesting contraption that could have these hanging like a little bit higher, just for something. You're always trying to draw attention.
Dangling, yeah, from kind of like a suspended something that you have in your booth.
Yeah, or maybe even put a line across and have them hanging, something interesting.
Well, you think about it. Fish, you see a lot of times hanging on lines. They're minnows. So by hanging them up, you'll still have your table full of knives, and it does take your eyes to two different places, and you're not having to spend any more space to display more knives.
That's true, too.
I'm surprised they don't hang them in the knife store. I've learned how much value, because it is a real issue when you run out of space. When you buy a collection of 27 Randall knives for whatever reason, it limits what you can then bring in.
Sure.
And
selling those Randalls?
Sold 2 of them so far. Neither one of them locally, but his Facebook group, I guess people follow it. And I think it's the niche buyer, don't you think? I mean, Randalls people aren't going to walk in and buy them, I doubt.
I mean, it depends how you define a niche, but it's like there's a lot. I think there's. I would imagine not like not all Randall collectors are knife guys.
I agree.
So in a sense, it goes a little outside the knife world. So yeah,
You've got a little bit larger pool to possibly pull that.
There's like a
that interest from.
historical. It's like a historical significance to them.
What's up,
And-
Cliff? And I've noticed we've got about 50-50. The ones that are stainless steel have an SS marked on the blade. And I learned the ones that don't are carbon steel. And I think they're very basic steels, but the
1095, I think.
designs are gorgeous. I mean, there's some fighting stilettos in there. There are a couple of
What's the price range?
anywhere from about $7, maybe $6.50 for some of the 4-inch fighting stilettos, upwards to I think $12 for some of the more bougie ones with micarta handles. Much more than I would ever consider spending on a knife like that. However, the people that come in, because it was an interesting transaction. I was not there the day that it happened, but John, the older owner, is very transparent. And he said, because he's been after this collection for a number of years, maybe over a decade, and told the guy, I'm going to give you a number, but please don't be insulted by it. I've been looking at values and what I have to turn in the store because it's going to take a lot of space. And just
time.
What's that?
And time.
Exactly. And a lot of time to find the right buyer. And the gentleman said to him, John, you're not going to hurt my feelings because I've been buying these knives for the last 30 years and I've got such a little bit in them. I'm going to come out winning either way. And all I can do is tell you no. And they went back and forth a couple of times and came to an agreement. But it's a beautiful collection, not something, because some of them are a bushcraft that have an ivory handle. I don't know if they're authentic ivory, but it's an ivory color. Some of them are really nice micarta handles. The fighting stilettos, even though they're the most impractical to me, are the most attention drawing because there's some 8-inch, some 4-inch. I need to get more of them cataloged on their Instagram page. I've been putting some of them on, but most of them don't fit on my little USA flag because they're so long.
What is the group's name that they're in?
In terms of the company?
Yeah, the Facebook group.
The Facebook group is Knives and More. His picture is just of the group. So it's Knives and More Huntsville. It's the store I'm trying to and I can tell you where they are on Instagram where you can see some better pictures. Are you seeing their group anywhere?
14 University Drive.
That's it.
All right.
That's my part-time, and I don't have anything to do with the Facebook side of there. So any of the pictures, don't hold those against me.
It's got bunches of pictures of you here.
Well, he's amazing.
No, I'm just kidding.
Well, no, when he gets his cases in, he doesn't even like lay them out. He'll unbox one and have them in a stack and take a picture, put it on his page, and they sell out by 2-3 o'clock that day because people come and gobble those things up. Not people I know. But he's got a loyal following. But if you go to Instagram, they've got the worst Instagram name. It's Knives and More HSV. And that's their Instagram. But I've only probably got 6 of the 27 on there, or 26 now. Because one lady did come in and buy one, and then another gentleman came in 2 days later and bought one.
Huh.
Because
Yeah.
I guess, Gary, if you buy it knowing you're going to keep it for 5 or 10 years, you'll probably make money on it. Not as much as if you put it somewhere else, but if you like knives, I think they appreciate. I don't think they lose value.
Well, that'll be an interesting question. The Randall knives were very popular amongst baby boomers. I don't know how popular they are amongst younger knife buyers?
Great question.
So when those older folks kind of get through buying knives and are unloading them onto a market that didn't like them as much as they did,
And there are more and more on that market. That market might not become saturated, but it becomes more
soft.
fluid. Yeah, more soft.
Yeah, I wonder. I
I didn't either, Kong. Google it real quick, and you'll see that there were knives made. I think after World War II was when they were really brought into prominence. Vietnam, Korea, but they were also, I hear, gifted to a lot of dignitaries and made historical that way. They look like museum pieces, but they're not my jam of knives. They're big.
So they're significant because they were early in the like custom knives. They were kind of sort of quasi custom knives in their day, versus like a big, like a Camillus or a K-bar or something like that. They were a little fancier. They were a little, and so he was friends with a lot of the very early custom knife makers. Randall was, and there was a lot of interaction. So they're a production factory for sure now. But I think they might be forged.
I think that, like you said, when they were building their prominence, it was a lot to do with Mr. Randall or Randall, whatever the namesake, and the connections he made and the knives that he was making and presenting to people or selling. I think he kind of just built a value around his brand. And then they went later into kind of full production, right? Or were they always a production type company?
No, I think it started out small and built its way up. Yeah, I don't think he started with a big factory. I think it just sort of slowly caught on, and it was before custom knives were really much of a thing. So before Randall was Skagel. There's Randall sort of a contemporary of Lovelace. So Randall was more of a forging guy. Lovelace was more a stock removal guy. But before both of them was Skagel, who's sort of the great granddaddy of the custom knife making world. Interestingly enough, Bark River purchased the rights to the name Skagel.
Really?
But he has a very distinctive, style of knife with like stacked handles, particular blade shapes. If you look up Skagel, you'll see there's actually, I got this really nice book. Actually, let me go grab it. You can talk for a while.
Shane, how are you, buddy?
I'm good. How are you?
Buddy, I'm good. William Skagel. Bill William Skagel, Arizona Knives. I bet this is him. I'm doing good, man. Just popped in and check this out. I've already put an ulti clip on it.
What is it? Oh, okay. Yeah.
It's a little MagnaCut minnow.
Yeah.
With a really nice, one thing about this compared to my Chickadee and other small knives, and you like this too, because the handle's so contoured and bulbous.
Yeah.
It feels your hand more. So it doesn't feel as small.
Are those black scales with pink liners?
This is black carbon fiber 3D printed scale with a orange.
Oh, orange. My shades made it look pink. I was excited. I was hoping it was pink.
It's a great little knife.
I like that bright Tokyo pink that Spyderco did, not the breast cancer one. They've got two different colors of pink that Spyderco uses. In the tattoo world, the other one we call Tokyo pink. It's like a really vivid, bright pink.
Before I forget, when you come up here in 2 weeks for that knife show, remind me to give you those pink breast cancer scales for your S45.
I'm never going to need them. I don't like that pink.
But if you ever sell it, somebody's going to want them because that's what they came with.
Oh, okay.
Did you find the book, Gary?
I did. So
I found some knives that we could look at.
this is the book.
I want to make you big. Hold on one sec.
Oh, okay.
It's a little bit backwards, but handmade by Skagel, James R. Lucy, and that's pretty telling of the knives he makes.
To have a tabletop hardcover book, that's
it's a really nice book, and it's signed by Lucy too. This is probably a $200-300 book, but that's very indicative of his style. There, he often would put like the button cap, pommel there, and the stacked handles, and that sweepy shape of blade. But this guy, the picture of him there, he's see here. He was a weirdo.
He was a weirdo.
He was a weirdo. He had some sort of disagreement with the electric company, and to my understanding, they shut his electric off, and so he had a knife shop. He was pretty prolific maker, and so he got the engine of a Duesenberg and somehow hooked it up with belts and ran his whole knife shop till the end on that Duesenberg, like V12 or whatever that engine was.
My man.
I like it. He fought the law and the law didn't win.
So he's an interesting character and kind of considered the great granddaddy of custom knives. So Randall, I don't know if Randall really liked his knives, but if you saw that style knife, you will see in those Randalls the influence of Skagel.
Right.
So Skagel,
would Randall have been a child when Skagel was at his height? I don't know the age of those guys. I assume they both passed.
Yeah. Yes. Skagel would have been older. I'm not sure how much older.
So William Bill lived from 1873 to 1963. I'm going to share this from Arizona Custom Knives because this shows a lot of his actual knives that you can get. Was he a forged maker?
Yeah.
Okay. And then you said Loveless was a
stock removal.
Because we've had a couple of his knives. I think they're very impressive.
How much do they go for?
The one I've seen down there, we have one, and it's like $350. It's not as expensive as I would have thought.
Is it an actual?
It's an actual, from what I can tell. I'll have to look at it again when I'm down there Thursday.
Well, if it's an actual and it's that price, save it for me and I will buy it.
Yeah, I will look, because if I'm not mistaken, and I know it's got some marking on the blade. Did he ever have his stuff marked on the blade? Like his?
Yeah. Well, he's got a couple different marks from different time periods. One is like this naked lady. And then the other one is sort of like that football shaped. Yeah. So 6,000 for kind of
a little slippy. Yeah. Point. I was going to try to find some of his fixed blades. There we go. There's a leather stag and leather hunter for about the cost of a
used
motorcycle.
Wow.
Yeah.
Those, what, $10.95, Gary?
Probably. No. Well, Skagel liked to use what's called silver steel. And silver steel is an English steel, not too dissimilar from 1095, but I think a little bit nicer, a little more interesting. I bought some bars of it. I had to get it in round stock and go. I told you about the guy up the road from me that's like forging guy. He also has a roller, and I rolled it out into bar stock. I haven't done anything with it, just sitting there as bar stock. So I should cut it up and make something out of it. But yeah, it's similar to 1095, but it's called silver steel. And
is that something that's a steel from the past? And which leads me to the main question, Gary. What makes you determine what steels to experiment with, to make knives out of, to think I want to make knives out of this? Is it just your own curiosity, or is it relationships that you have with different steel companies, or is it what drives that?
What drives it is a general interest in material science.
Gotcha.
Be that the handle material, be that the
mainly the steel. I'm referring to the steel in particular.
Yeah, but they're related, like because a lot of people say, "Oh, 3D printing, that's cheap, that's junk," because they got all these tchotchkes at farmers markets, that guys 3D printing PLA. But no, but in a similar way, the steel is this is particularly of interest, and that probably got started with Spyderco when I started buying Spydercos back in probably the mid '90s. I was like, "Oh, Gen 1, what is that?" And they had these different ones, and it was AUS 8, and then it was VG10.
This is when you were a covert dealer, I imagine.
Yes. Some of that was when I was a covert dealer. Yeah.
I took the same path, Gary. It was Spyderco's constant delving into the next best thing, and offering what I consider probably the best industrial heat treat anyway. This is what fired my curiosity for new steels and what will this do and what's the difference. But I think Spyderco's probably done that for a lot of people, if I had to guess.
A fair amount for sure, and it's a lot of this talk of good heat treat, bad heat treat. It's not that Spyderco had some special like heat treating gift,
right?
It was that they were just willing to call out numbers that were more appropriate for these modern steels. In the early days, like 20 CV or M390, guys would make knives out of this at like 58 Rockwell.
The only 20 CV I have ever experienced that I would even in its heyday, that I would have hailed a super steel or I don't want to go too far. The only 20 CV I've ever experienced that I thought was decent was Spyderco's. Everything else I've ever put to a diamond or tested was just soft, and I think it's a shame that so many steels reputations have gotten ruined by, like you said, other makers, not caring enough to push it past 56 or 58. Or
I don't call this out to be negative. It's just factual that my 20 CV on my hinderers is very soft on my stones. Yeah. It seems, but it cuts everything I need to cut. I would love to try a winter blade, Ronald, but I've tried them at shows. I've handled them at Blade Show, but I've never had one that I could like snuggle with and play with. I'm kind of curious by them, but I've never been drawn to drop 350 on one.
Yeah, I also had a question that I've been looking forward to being on here with you again to ask you about. It's something that we've talked about several times, and with a couple of people it gets a little heated, but I'm of the opinion that so many well, let me just back up and ask yours. What is your opinion on why steel or bigger knife companies, I'm not talking about forge guys, but why do you think so many of them are hanging on to using lesser steels? Because my answer, the more research I do, it always comes down to money and cost. But when I look at, I'm just going to throw a name out there. Let's say Tops, for instance. My impressions of Tops is that it's, should be super tough, super hard use and all that. And I'm of the understanding that it would be way tougher, way harder use, and not rust if they used ABL or Nitro V. And from my purchasing experience, I don't buy sheets of steel, but from my purchasing experience, the cost of the blank would be maybe $1 more. So why haven't they upgraded, do you think? To especially these companies that are going for tough, hard to use outdoor knives, Well, why aren't you using a super tough, hard use steel?
You know, I think so. To answer the question, let's say to go from 1095 to um, AEBL.
Right.
I think there's a general trust with 1095, as misguided as it may be.
A public opinion.
So there's a marketing value to it.
Right.
It is not the best choice. I would rather use 52100. I would rather use ADCR V2. I would rather use any number of different carbon steels if I was in the carbon steel camp.
Right.
But you're right. AEBL would be tougher. It would probably have double the edge retention. And it wouldn't rust.
Right.
And it's better in every way. Now, in terms of a blank,
and I'm not talking about custom makers. Like I know Dom's in here, and he's made a lot of customized in 1095. But I don't have an issue with that. If I were going to buy a knife from him, I wouldn't care if it was in 1095. But I'm talking about these large production companies that market themselves as, the one knife you'd grab to walk in the woods and never come back. Your ultimate survival knife. Well,
1095 is cheap.
Yeah, and go ahead, Gary.
It's cheap, but it's not. So take for instance, if you're going to get 1095. Now I don't know what Topps is running it these days. I watched their heat treating process on some of their videos, and it was interesting. But what surprises me is if you're going to use 1095, the way to use 1095, it's not an especially tough steel.
Right.
The way to use 1095 is to run it at like 65 Rockwell. You can run that at 65 Rockwell.
I've got one right here at 65 Rockwell.
Yeah, so if you're going to use 1095, use it for that high hardness.
Right.
Don't get 1095 and then temper it down to 56.
Right.
If you only want 56 Rockwell, you're going to get much better performance out of like 1074.
Right.
If you want to stay in the 10 series.
Yeah.
Or other steel. So, but why do they do it? Cost and their warranty, which has to do with cost.
Right.
So they have a warranty. For instance, on my knives, like if you do something stupid, I'm not going to warrant that.
Right.
I'm not. Use
your air. You shouldn't warrant.
In all honesty, Gary, most of my knives I heat treat at the very outer limits, and I try to grind them as thin as possible. And I tell people, you're never going to break this using it for what I made it for. If you're using it to push it through a piece of medium and turn that piece into two pieces, it's never going to break. But if you do break it, then it's because you used it for something other than what it was meant for. So I don't advertise a warranty because of that. Now, of course, I'd stand behind. Of course, I would, but I don't advertise it because, if you're buying a super thin, high HRC piece of steel, you need to understand you can't sideload it. You just can't.
And I sell a lot of really thin, high hardness knives, and only once in a while do I have people bring. Somebody broke their tip. They said they broke it just sharpening it. In fact, I don't know if I ever responded to that email. I think I did tell them they can send it back to me, and I'll
fix the tip.
Fix it or do whatever it needs to be done. But that's the thing. So Essie and Topps and so many others have this. Do whatever you want to do to it. And if you break it, send it back. We'll send you a new one.
Right.
And that's because
I only asked that question to lead to another. But I started out with a kiln. I started out with stainless steels. I have since learned that was somewhat of a mistake. I think I should have spent some time in carbon steels where I could concentrate more on refinement of the handles and things like that. I just think I rerouted my learning curve. But now that I've gone to the only carbon steel I work with is Pro Cut. And the only reason I was interested in Pro Cut, was when Larry pretty much explained to me like it was the carbon steel to end all carbon. There's no need for anything else. because it's tougher with the added vanadium. It's got better edge retention. Then when I seen Steve Kalari testing it, and it was outcutting. I mean, it outcut most factory heat treated S35 that I've seen. It outcut most M390 as far as production heat treats go.
It shouldn't.
Well, he ran it at 67. I did back off a hair. I backed down to
Yeah, maybe it's 67 compared to a knife at 60.
Yeah, I backed it off to 65, but
yeah, I like Pro Cut a lot. I think that's a neat steel. I made some bushcrafts out of it. I wasn't getting those high hardnesses though. Maybe I just needed to anneal a little. Maybe I needed to austenitize it a little higher. But yeah, I ran it like 61, 62.
Right.
But you know, if I really want edge retention, there are, you know, you just got to get out of. You know, I don't know if I used this one on the show before, but you know, Pro Cut's like the thinnest kid at Fat Camp.
Right. Yeah, you said that last time I was on.
Like that's a great analogy, by the way.
You're still at Fat Camp. You know, you're still at really low at this one is a little above some of these others, but it's still in the bottom 10th of the chart.
Right.
So it's kind of
I wanted to mess with it because I had never done any carbon steel, and I wanted to, and there are still a lot of people out there that like that nostalgic side of it. So I wanted to be able to offer it. I don't know how long I'm going to work with it. Like I don't want it to be my main thing, but for the people who want that, I wanted to be able to provide it. And I will say,
carbon steel.
It's made the knife making process much more enjoyable. And like I said, it has given me just freedom of my mental capacity and labor and everything else.
You're very forgiving in the heat treat.
Yeah,
also.
To concentrate on something else. But
I like the steel. I bought a sheet right away.
Yeah.
And my only sort of thing is it's still a carbon steel,
right?
Albeit a good one. I don't know, that versus ADCR V2, they're both pretty nice. But the problem is it's pretty expensive compared to 1095.
Yeah, for a carbon steel it is.
Compared to 5200. So it's, as those steels go, it's pretty expensive. And now the mill that made it is closed. So I'm not sure what they're doing for new supply. I think I heard they have another source or something, but there's another steel coming out I'm very interested in that I want to be able to get my hands on. It's a Carpenter steel. It's A421.
Yeah.
And it's a stainless, it's a poured ingot stainless, but a very new recipe of a stainless that's supposed to have a lot of it's supposed to be able to compete with, allegedly, it's supposed to compete with some of the powdered metallurgies like the S30V, the S35VNs and stuff, but it's a poured ingot steel. It's a Carpenter steel, 100% American made. So I'm kind of interested in that because we don't have anything quite like, AEBL, most of that's coming out of Europe.
Right.
I heard there's a domestic maker. I'm not sure. So I'm super interested in this steel when I get my hands on that, because AEBL was a great steel that was affordable for stainless for makers. But then now it's not going away, but it's going to be about twice what it used to be.
Well, aren't they coming out with that?
Tom, you're a moderator now. You can share links to some of your stuff.
I was at a table with Steve Kalari talking to the guy from Aris Steel, and he was sending Steve a sheet of the Nitro X7, I think it's called, the upgraded Nitro V.
That's not Aris Steel.
Maybe it wasn't. Sorry.
That's Boderis.
Right.
Which is now closed.
And it's closed already?
Mm-hmm. I was calling them. I was in contact with them to get a sheet of Nitro X7.
Right.
They gave Steve a couple bars. I wanted a whole sheet, or I wanted several sheets.
Right.
and we were lining it up. I'm like, look, I got some YouTube guys that'll do some videos on it, blah, blah, blah. And we were in the middle of it. And then one day I didn't hear from them for a while, and I got back. I asked them again, and they finally got back to me and said, we're closing. We're out of here in 4 weeks. And so, yeah. So I don't know if the Nitro X7, I think, is just gone. And I don't know about Nitro V, because that was sort of something, to my understanding, I could be wrong about this, but I thought that it was something that the New Jersey Steel Baron and Bodaris came together for. So I don't know if somebody else. I think I heard they do have another source for Nitro V. But to me, I prefer ABL over Nitro V.
Right.
Why pay extra for extraordinarily marginal changes?
Right.
And you're giving up some toughness.
One more.
I was talking to John. We were actually talking about you and our conversations with you, and I was telling him that, you know, there's a lot of information out there about steels and heat treats. And this information may exist. I just don't know where to find it. But like, I've always been curious, because I had mentioned something to Brian Kim about, well, I would rather have this steel than MagnaCut if they're only going to run it at 61. And he said, no. The MagnaCut is still better, even at 61. I don't remember the exact conversation, and that's not the point. My point is, I would be really curious to see a chart like, how high does the HRC have to be, or how low does it have to be before other steels start exceeding it? Like, you know, I know people are doing tests and posting the results at a particular HRC, and I understand that it would be stupid expensive, and not enough people would have interest to know, well, what is it like at 60, at 61, at 62, at 60? You know what I mean? I think that would be a good piece of information to have, because like, I run my Nitro V at 64, and I've been very honest about it. I'm like, guys, I can't find any information. I know the toughness starts to drop a little, but to be honest, I can't promise you that there is that any more edge retention even exists, and if it does, how much exists, because there's no information. I can't find any information about that kind of stuff. You know, I just looked at the chart and noticed where it started dropping, and I found a number that it dropped to that I was comfortable with, and that was at about 64, so I ran it there. But I can't find anything to tell me, am I getting any advantage edge retention wise running it there? I mean, my understanding is that higher HRC is going to be higher edge retention, but at some point that has to stop, right?
Well, at some point you get beyond how hard it can get.
Right.
And also when you get to the very top, then you're giving up a lot of toughness.
Right.
So you're paying. But if you look at Laren's chart, I don't know if you can pull up Laren's chart.
Which would be on Knife Nerds? Where would I find it?
Knife Nerds, yeah. He's got the big chart with all this.
Then I'm going to show you. Y'all don't let me forget. Joe Isabella sent me a couple of knives to show to Gary before we let him go.
J-Con, Dom, you're 100% right, because it kind of broke my heart when I heard Laren say that the most important aspect to edge retention is geometry. He placed geometry ahead of steel type or HRC number.
Well, keep in mind that one of the things with MagnaCut is that one of the things that makes MagnaCut special is not its edge retention.
Right.
Where would I find it?
Oh, it's up. My knife
ratings.
Yep, that should be it. Should be a big old chart.
Yeah, I think it's probably down here towards the bottom.
Yeah, just spool down. It's down there. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. Keep on going. There's a big old chart that I'm looking for here. Yep, not there yet. Keep on.
I'm glad we're doing this, Gary, because maybe you can explain to me too. On his toughness charts, there's a scale of numbers.
Okay, right there.
What do those numbers mean? Like, what are they?
Let's deal with this chart for a little while.
Sure.
Now, let's take something like
I've just got it to the most cluttered
MagnaCut.
part.
You see MagnaCut there in the green in the middle?
Yes. It's at about 575,
Okay.
570.
As you go left to right on that chart,
Right.
that is hardness.
Right.
So, when you're down, I'm guessing the lower one is maybe 60. I'm just guessing.
Yeah.
And then the top there is maybe 64 or 5.
Okay.
So that's the slope. And
Right.
different knives have little different slopes, but they're
Like
generally
4V seems much less
affected by hardness.
Yeah.
Like go down a little bit there. Yeah, right there. 440C. You see its slope, it's not gaining edge retention with hardness as quickly as some other steels. And if you look at ABL, that slope is a little different.
It goes the opposite way.
Yeah, it goes
Well,
fairly
it's
straight up.
steeper. It's a lot steeper. So hardness in ABL makes a huge difference. Hardness in 440C doesn't make as big a difference.
See, the 14C and the Nitro V don't have a line at all.
Yeah, what's that mean?
When I saw that, I just referred to that's why I ran my Nitro V higher, because I know they're so similar. So I assumed the edge retention climb would be similar.
It probably is. It probably is. Although Nitro V appears to be getting, he's probably not doing the slope unless he ran 2 or 3 tests.
Right.
That's okay.
To kind of get the thing. But the chart does give the slope for a lot of steels, but not every steel. But getting back to
just looking at it though, it seems odd to me that MagnaCut at a high HRC caps out about where S30V starts. But then you watch Cedric and Ada's video, and it was Brian Kim's MagnaCut that he tested, I believe. No, that was Steve Clark that tested Brian's. Or Gerald from Outpost 76 tested Brian's, and it smoked any S30V he had ever tested. So it gets confusing when you go to different places for your information, because you kind of get conflicting answers.
And see, the thing with MagnaCut and edge retention too is the fact that knife companies, when they make a knife in MagnaCut, when they make it in 20CV, when they make it in ABL, they're probably all going to be sharpened, let's say, at 35 degrees inclusive.
Right.
But the thing is, you could run the AEBL a lot leaner than you could run the 20CV, and that's part of the benefit of the steel. But if you run them all at the same edge angle, you're not getting some of that benefit of the geometry.
Right. I'm assuming Larian's test here is on coupons of the same thickness and the same.
The Catra test is, a small little blade sharpened at a very specific angle,
right,
in a very specific way, and the cards that they cut. These numbers represent the number of cards it cuts before it stops with this machine that puts the same amount of weight on. And so
let's say an S90V cut more than S110.
It does. And that's right about where Magnamax is going to be.
Right, but every chart you look at shows S110 to have higher edge retention than S90.
Not Laren's.
Right.
And my experience reflects that also, anecdotally.
Right.
Fascinating. But you say anecdotally, yours is real world anecdotally. You're cutting stuff with yours and sending it out to be cut, right?
And sharpening it.
Yeah. So it's more scientific than that.
But I don't know. Theoretically, that should not be the case when you look at their chemistries. But sometimes just simply looking at the chemistries, there's some interaction and some other things going on. And so you get results you don't always expect.
Yeah, like I would not have expected on that chart, S30V and M4 were equal in edge retention.
Yeah. And some of it has to do
some of this just mental. Do I just think my M4 stay sharp longer? You think?
Geometry, heat treat on that.
Right.
There's some Randall.
But with that chart, what you're telling us with that chart,
Joe sent these to show, but I wasn't sure Frank Centrafont Model 14. Is that a Randall or is that Frank Centrafont? I'm not familiar.
I don't know. It looked Randall-esque from a distance, but
this is a Ralph Bone.
Just to make sure I'm clear, that chart, all things were equal, correct? Thickness, geometry, all okay. All right.
Because they're all that standard blade shape, form, sharpening, so on and so forth.
Okay. Joe, those are bangers. Are those in your collection, dude?
So I guess I can kind of see your point. Even if MagnaCut doesn't outcut M4, when you go to the other charts and you realize it performs about the same edge retention wise, but the toughness and the corrosion resistance are so much higher. That's why they've deemed it the best all around steel right now.
Well, think about this. Spyderco just moved it to their Salt Series steel. So you do have that benefit of corrosion resistance. What I was going to say is I asked the old timers at the knife store why 1095 is still so popular and why these guys use it. Y'all's question you answered earlier. And their customers ask for it. That's what they've always used. That's what their dad used. They're not going to be in a rush to adopt a newer steel because the ease of sharpening, they said, and the fact that it's just ingrained. Just like case knife people buy case knives. People like the steel because it's always performed for what it's used for.
Right.
I did have the first guy come in and talk to me about blade steels today. First guy ever. He was from Mobile.
Yeah, we do forget quite often that there's a very small percentage of us who nerd out over this stuff and care. But
in my case, it's most of my customers, though.
Right. Oh yeah, and you
not
have
all
a very
of them.
niche. Well, you have a niche customer base because I would have remembered your company's name at all if you weren't Pete's go-to. Like when a new steel comes out, the first thing Pete's going to say is, "Well, I can't wait to get one from Creeley and see what it's like." He's not waiting on Spyderco to make it. He's waiting on you to make it.
Well, yeah, because I'm small, I'm able to get them out.
Well, no, I don't think it's because you're small and he can get it first. I think it's because he trusts you that much.
With the steel.
That's the only reason why I know Creeley knives exist is because of that. And I enjoy being part of this small community that nerds out over it. You know, if it didn't exist, there would be a lot of us makers that there's no point in us making knives. But you know, at the same time, I have people ask me, you know, that think when I talk about particular steels that I don't like them. That's not at all the case. There's certain knives that I would buy, and I don't care what steel they're in because I know why I'm buying it. You know, the edge retention is just not going to matter to me, and that's okay. But, you know, the stuff that I do buy with super high edge retention, I've never cut 1,000 feet of cardboard in my life, Gary, ever, all combined. I haven't cut that much cardboard.
I may have.
So it doesn't matter to me, but I love knowing I have it.
Yeah. No, I'll tell you what, that Demco is in MagnaCut, and it's like 61, 62. It's a good spot for MagnaCut.
For a Demco, I wouldn't have an issue with that either.
And I took that, you know, on a job by a sound system company, and you know, lots of boxes. We bought TVs. 85
big
inch
boxes,
and yeah, big boxes, and cutting them up. And I dulled down that MagnaCut edge.
Right.
You know, I dulled that down. I had to resharpen it. So yeah.
I bet your edges get better and better though after your second and maybe third sharpening. I hear that on any knife you're sharpening yours with a wheel though, right?
I sharpen it with a wheel. It doesn't get it too hot. It gets a little hot compared to like by hand, but yeah. Gets a little hot.
Has a lot of acid. I used to could take the blue off shotguns when I used to hunt with my dad when I was a kid. So some people's skin is going to be much more corrosive on steels than others. That's a fact.
I had a kid that worked for me at my mechanic shop that he could use a wrench and put it back in my toolbox, a snap-on wrench. And the next day when I opened the drawer, that wrench would be orange. Everything.
It's the acidic content in certain, and this is when I was a kid. I was living as clean as you can as a kid in the 70s. I was eating God knows what kind of chicken flavored Pac-Man pasta, what kind of preservatives were in that. But Gary, you were talking about what do you have on the horizon? You were talking about you do a few bushcraft knives. I'm going to pull up your website real quick. Because I asked you, and you don't have to answer here, but I do want to talk to you kind of about your how you drop knives, how you schedule them, so I can kind of be there, kind of sharing the word around the time that you're doing stuff and not promoting stuff that you don't have. So on the website, is that stuff that's in stock or is that stuff that's available to order?
So minnows and makos, if they're in stock, they're relatively in stock. However, it does take me sometimes up to 10 business days to get them out the door. So what those mean is the makos and the minnows, the blades are done, usually sharpened. They don't have scales on them. And so when they get ordered, I put the particular scales that are ordered on them, box them up, get the Kydex. I ran out of Mako Kydex. Just came today, thank goodness. And then they go out the door.
So a couple of weeks they ship. I mean, so they are all pretty well ready to order.
Now, when you go down and get those other ones, like the Beast there, that's a year out, maybe more than a year. The Folklore Classic, that's a year out, maybe more than a year.
Because you just do these occasionally. These are like limited drops.
They're more handmade, and they just take more time. And they're expensive. I mean, that's $390. Now, what I'm going to do for the people that have been waiting for a Folklore Classic for, I would even extend to somebody that was waiting for a Beast if they wanted. I'm going to make about 50 Folklores. That's the bushcraft knife.
It's this one here, right?
Yeah, I'm going to make about 50 of those in Magnamax. And those are going to be cool. They're going to be a 425. And DBK is going to test one. I mean, they're going to be super popular unless that test doesn't go well, which is impossible. It's possible it might not.
I doubt it. I bet it goes well. I bet you'll be ready before you send it.
I expect it will be fine, but so I'm going to send that over to them for them to test. And that's when people are going to want those, and I'm not going to have them.
Right.
Because I can't get, and it's so expensive.
Those guys sell a lot of knives, don't they?
Oh my gosh. They'll sell 100 knives for me just in one video. Actually, they'd probably sell more than that if I had them in stock.
Right.
There I did 20 CV. That was.
And you've got crewwear here on the listing. Do you still do crewwear?
I have a few in. I bring them to shows. I don't have much crewwear left.
Okay.
I have a little
bit.
But
if somebody ordered it, you'll take it down when you're not doing it anymore. Is that kind of how it works?
Yeah. Shall I show it in stock? If it is in stock, I have it. But
it just says purchase. I don't know if it's in stock. I don't know if I
was really glad to see that. I understand that crewwear is going away, but that alloy is still going to be available if we want it.
Yeah, so crewwear, it's going to be NSM wear, I think, is what they're going to be calling it.
Isn't Z-wear and crewwear the same thing too? And
Z-wear is a Zap product, which is actually a rebadged. Who makes that? I don't know if it's Bowler or Udahome, but it's a European version of crewwear.
Right.
Some say they like it better. I'll tell you this, and I might have mentioned this last time I was on. Sharpening that new Era steel, like those Makos came out 64 Rockwell for the Magna Cut, and they're just taking a really nice edge. Different steels take a little different edge, and they're taking a really nice edge. So I've been really pleased with that, like a crewwear edge, which crewwear takes a nice edge.
My favorite edges so far are crewwear and any of the Rexes. they just feel super aggressive to me.
Yeah, there's a sharp knife.
This is your minnow.
Yeah.
You should see my unboxing. I mean, I cut cardboard, not just cardboard, but boost boxes, double line that my dad I ordered for him. And this little thing, this is MagnaCut. And I guess it's what, around 64 gear, you think?
I think that one's 62. That's CPM MagnaCut.
I got you.
I do have like
it is super slicey. I mean,
yeah, and that's a little knife for that, you know.
I love it.
Like a lot of guys will take a big knife and be like, but that's just.
I would admit some of those big, huge ass thick knives that I've seen Scab cut paper towels with.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost hard for me to believe it if I weren't seeing it.
I'm surprised. Is there a trick to how you fold the paper, or is it just it's got to be that sharp? Those work sharp, those big work sharps that when he folds his, it's kind of like an accordion, and then he cuts down on it. Is that what you're talking about? His Instagram.
Yeah.
Is that real? I mean, it must be.
Probably.
But it does have a little to do with the way it's folded, so it makes it more rigid, so it don't. But yeah, it's still impressive for that big a knife to cut that cleanly, though.
And I believe those come that sharp because I don't think Scab's a sharpener.
No, he'll tell you he's not.
Yeah. See, I'm not a fan of big knives anymore because of this thing.
Does that cover all your bases?
This is the one I got for my birthday the one year. I talked about that last week a little bit. This is the Western Bowie. Here, I'll open it. This guy.
Let me make it big real quick. That's beautiful. That's mirrored, isn't it?
Yeah. It got a little messed up because I used it when I was a teenager, but then I saw it patina. And I think this is 1095. I'm pretty sure it's Western. They made a lot of OEMs. It was sharp. I must have sharpened it. But what a useless knife.
But do you ever go out and, like, if you were at a campsite and you had to clear out some spaces, do you have a machete for that? Or a better tool for whacking stuff is what I think of a Bowie for being good for, even though that's not its purpose.
I would bring my Sawzall and just chop things down. Zip, 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 zip.
Keep it simple.
We invented chainsaws years ago.
So, like, I don't need to hack at it with a, nah. I just get.
Gary, I love the idea of big, tactical, menacing-looking knives. It's what inspires me, but at the same time, I much more enjoy carrying a Sage 5 Spyderco in my pocket.
Just something that it's very usable, very practical. Right. That's what I like. So, like, that Folklore is like the biggest knife I make.
Yeah.
Was it 9 inches overall? Did I read that right?
That sounds about right. At least that, maybe.
And then your Mako's, like you said, 6.5, 6 inches.
7.
Okay, 7.
And
which
the
is a great size.
Is 5 1/4.
Yeah.
So
I get you. There are people though all over the planet that still have the need for a big ass, chopping knife. Not everybody lives the same way we do. I get that.
Yeah, if you don't have a Sawzall.
Right. I appreciate them. I love looking at them. I love holding them. I love the idea of them. But
so did I.
Carry it every day.
And when I was 14, I got one. And I was like, doggone it. This, there are two things about it that were problematic. One is it was big. Well, 3 things. One is the size of it. 2 was it was in a carbon steel, which is related to the third one, which it's nice. It's stag and brass and polished. You start using that thing, it's gonna, really aesthetically go downhill quickly. Right. And so for all those reasons, like, it's nice to look at. Man, I almost bought, I don't know when I mentioned it, I almost bought a Loveless.
Gary, at 14, you should not have been thinking about that stuff. 14, you should have still been appreciating the fact that you could take over the world with that knife.
Well, no, when I was 14, I did.
Right.
But I was like, man, I want to like this, but I don't like this.
Right.
You know, like I want to like it, but I
Yeah.
don't because it's not useful. And it wasn't useful for the things I wanted to do. Like what would have been I mean, a moral would have been a better choice at that time in my life.
Right.
Or, you know, even at the money that I spent on that, what could I have gotten? You know, there wasn't as many neat practical knives back in those days, actually. I mean, you know, like a buck 110, it's a big, chunky thing. So, like, yeah. And Spyderco.
Quick break. Come right back. Man hug to Brother Jay for sticking with me. Sorry about that, Gary. Didn't mean to interrupt you.
In 1988. Yeah, so there wasn't a ton of cool stuff, you know, that was accessible to me at that time.
We are at a knife mecca right this moment.
Oh yeah,
there's so much great stuff out there available, and you know if you even start to think about the competition, well, then you're not. There's no point even making knives if competition's your concern. But luckily, you know, we have this group of other cutlery nerds that want to own one of everything. So,
well, I was just saying to a salesperson at one of the vendors I deal with, you know, it's in the knife world. They're not going to just buy one knife and they'll be like, okay, I got my knife, I'm done.
Right.
You know, it's going to be different ones for different things, and you know, yeah. So
then a percentage of them are going to catch the bug where they just want to get into knives deeply. I still try to figure out what that is. I'm convinced it's somehow tied to my emotional stability or instability in my past addiction. It's running off the same dopamine. But I think the knife world right now is so cool because I know they always had small fixed blades because I've seen them, old ones, and I know people
they weren't very good.
But to me, because I carry, and I've always carried a primary folder. I think I told you for the first, 3 years that I was collecting knives, I wouldn't even look at fixed blades. It was Lefty EDC who got his channel back, and Jacob creates his little chickadee that attracted me to my first small fixed blade. But I can honestly say that for everything I do, I could carry a fixed blade in my right front pocket instead of my folder and have a better tool and never need my folder for what I do.
Fixed blade's always a better tool. It just is.
Do you think that's why so many people are putting them out now? Because people are seeing that? Or do you think it's just because it's a buzz?
A little bit of both. You know, I think people are starting to realize there's no locking mechanism as strong as a fixed blade.
Right. Correct.
You know, you got all these people like spine
wax. John is saying just a few years ago, you couldn't hardly find a really well made performance 6 or 7 inch pocketable fixed blade.
Yeah.
Or if you could, they weren't very well known. And now they're everywhere. And I know it's never going to do that, but it almost makes a folding pocket knife unnecessary, in all honesty. But there are also the people that love the action and the different locking mechanisms. I get that.
I like a pocket folding knife because, you know, it's just in my pocket and I can grab it, and you know, I like them. I like them both. I like them both. I have one of the guys that works for me, Doug Chapman.
Yeah.
I'm not kidding. He probably carries 20 knives on him at any given one time.
There's several people in the community that carry 6, 7, 8.
One of them's on the screen right now.
Yeah.
He has. He was telling me he got stopped by the police once, and they're asking, do you have any knives or whatever? He's like, yeah. And it, like, I forget what it was, some sort of situation, but it was comical how long it took him to take them, because he's got them everywhere. He's got Leathermans, he's got, you know, fixed blades. He's got, his favorite thing is, now he's one of the guys that works for me too. He'll take seconds, like that we have and turn them into different things, like do a hidden tang with it, or different stuff like that.
Chop them and things like that, make them kind of unique.
Yeah. So he has a number of those blades, and I did a run of Rex 76 blades a while back. Yeah, and so he has some of that. Yeah, he's got a little bit of everything.
Todd Carr,
Your blades are priced very, very aggressively. Looking at the prices on your site, I don't know if everybody was paying attention to that.
Todd Carr, I can agree with that, because as a kid, it seemed like every fixed blade I ever got a hold of was a rat tang, and every one of them come apart in my hand at some point. I'm sure they were garbage, but yeah, I don't have any interest in a rat tang either.
I when it comes to pricing, I'm sensitive to that, and this whole 3D. So take the Minnow, for instance, $180 with the Kydex. That's a nice setup. But add G10 to that, now you're at $210. Add the leather sheath, and you're at $270.
Yeah.
So
do you think that's high? I don't think that's high for a USA made, well done, high-end steel knife.
No, I think it's a fair price, but I like that you can get into it for $180.
Exactly.
And you can maybe get the leather thing later, or upgrade the scales later, or do that stuff later. I had a lengthy. I probably talked to him for an hour. One of the significant at this show, one of the significant reps from Benchmade. I had a good conversation. I was pretty frank with him, and I was just like, "Dude, what are you guys doing with your pricing? Like, what are you doing?" And he's like, "Yeah, we know, but you can't put the price back down."
Right.
Well,
what gets me is every time somebody is asked that, that's what you get. Yeah, I know, man, but you don't actually get an answer. Like, I would feel much better if they were like, "Hey, our employees, needed better health insurance, or
you're just a COVID cash grab,
401k." Just tell me something to make me feel a little better about it, But we're just getting, yeah, they went up. Well, yeah, no shit, we knew that.
but in all fairness, I probably shouldn't say this because we're not supposed to publish it, and we don't publish it. But if you walk in Knives and More to the Benchmade cabinet, you automatically can save 15% off box price, and we will pick up your sales tax. So that $300 knife, you can walk out
about 25%.
Yeah, you walk out for, I don't know why it is. They don't want you can't advertise less, but they can tell the people in the store, you don't have to haggle to get a good deal on a Benchmade. And it comes down to be about the price of the other knives.
Yeah, I mean, there's a little more margin in the Benchmade, but if you guys are giving away, 15% is not too bad, and much more than, and then if you're giving the sales tax 22%, that's significant. That's taking a pretty significant chunk out of your bottom line, and then it starts to be, a little harder business model. But they do give you, a lot of margin. So, but all that to say, a bug out for $180, an injection molded.
What are we talking about? Yeah,
like that's $100 at $140. That's a lot more appealing, and they probably sell more knives and make more money. In the end,
because they've got so many people who have turned to never Benchmade people now. Like they've offended folks to the point that they don't even consider Benchmade as a brand. There's another really popular channel right now that's live same time we are. When I left, that's what they were doing. They were telling people. He was actually telling people, "I have no issue with you buying Benchmade clones because they're too expensive. So just buy the clone."
Who was saying that?
Cole.
I don't know. I agree with that.
I don't agree with everybody.
They're hardcore Benchmade haters over there, man.
Yeah,
look, I don't hate Benchmade. I like Benchmade. I own a lot of them.
I just bought I just bought a Benchmade from John recently.
Yeah,
I personally think it's the best. It's the best knife they've ever made. That's just my personal.
The Crooked
opinion.
River.
Yeah, I love this knife. It is a little big, but I'm a big guy, so I can pull it off.
I can say don't buy Benchmade knives and understand somebody saying that, even though I don't agree with it, because they make good knives. But I wouldn't say support the clone market on any given thing. That's reckless.
Right. Well, you know,
y'all gave me such a hard time when I bought that Effengrow EF225, which never called itself a clone. I got a hard time from a lot of people. Yeah, Cole did, but it led to 2 Strider Protects and a Strider and a Dwyer, all that I would have never purchased had it not been for that. Kyle's coming in to bust my balls because I'm talking about bad knives. What's up, Kyle?
How we doing, guys?
Yeah.
Talking about knives, and I just found out that Cole's promoting clones.
Why does that not shock me? He promotes all kinds of other bullshit.
B-Shade, the Minnow is absolutely a fashion, and there's a purple option. I bet you he could print you up anything if the price was right.
I actually printed a color up by accident the other day because the printer it just picked the wrong color. It was blue liner with what is it? A purple handle with a blue liner. It's like the Joker color.
Be all over that. That's that printer made those scales for that guy.
I love my mini bug out. Mine's got my Carta. Mine's right here.
My only issue with the Benchmade's being so high is you look at what it created, because now that Kershaw's doing some US made magnet cut stuff.
Oh, those are big shady.
Those knives have gotten even more expensive because Benchmade's so high.
That was an accident.
That's a pretty accident.
I'd hang on to those, Gary.
I'll bring in the blade if somebody wants them. I'll give them away.
There you go.
I like the bug out.
He just said I do like the Curly Minnow, and there's a purple option. So.
There is a purple. That is, it's not the most popular color, but it is way more popular than I would ever guessed. Yeah.
Jesse, believe it or not, I'm a salesman by trade. I have been all my life. I've never felt comfortable selling, even though I work at a knife store. I let people buy knives, but I don't feel comfortable selling things that people put so much love into. I sold real estate, which people put love into that, but it was just letting people buy.
Here's the thing, Joe. I know he was kind of joking.
I know. I'm just giving him a hard time.
As a guy who designs knives and just had a drop sell out in a matter of an hour or so, he shouldn't say those type of things. But that's who Cole is. He's going to say things he shouldn't say.
Well, I bet you when they put his out as a clone, they don't put a mustache on it.
Yeah. It's shocking. Like a high-end knife can drop in with it on a week. It's available now. He was scrolling through showing, the SPK Lamia clones and the Protean clones, and it's mind blowing. They're out
there, but
they used to just copy Medford's and a couple other people, but now it's everybody. Like, they make them all. But
why would you show them even if they're out there? Why would you take any time to show that they exist? That's just promoting them.
I know,
even if you're not getting anything off of it.
He's just making content, John. The morals and ethics has never been part of. That's never been part of it.
Here's an exclusive for you. This is a model that I haven't released yet.
I'm making you big if you don't mind.
Yeah.
Ooh.
This is my hunting knife. This is my version of a drop point hunter. I should go throw some scales on it, but I haven't released it yet. It's not going to be the next knife I release. It'll be the one after the next knife.
Gary, is that about a 8-inch knife? You don't have to measure it. I'm just curious if you know just by looking at it about.
I'm going to say it's 28 and 9.
It's 8. What is that? It's about 8 3/8.
Yeah.
That's a beautiful shape.
I started to bring this up earlier, but to back up when you were talking about when we were younger and the knives people used to have. As a kid who grew up around a lot of outdoorsmen, everybody I knew then, and still a lot of those guys to this day, owned a Schrade sharp finger for cleaning game. And now that I know I've educated myself some on knives, I can look at that Schrade sharp finger and think, this is the absolute worst knife made for cleaning game. Like,
yeah, it's got
the most popular thing in the world, and it's the worst thing made for that. It's the geometry is garbage. You know, the steel is garbage. Everything about that knife is horrible, other than the fact that it's got some belly. But there's lots of stuff with a belly.
What are you making your Hunter out of, Gary?
MagnaCut.
Oh, do you say MagnaCut?
No,
this is from the first sheets of MagnaCut ever made. This is from the prototype mount. So this is mine. But I'll probably make it out of something stainless. And I'll probably make it. I usually, anytime I do a run, I'll do at least 2 steels.
Is your next knife going to be big or small? Can you even say that?
The next knife I'm doing is a knife called the Medium. And it is bigger than that one and smaller than the Folklore.
I got you.
So it's a medium-sized knife, hence the name.
Kind of like a camp knife, maybe an off a
smaller
trail
than
knife.
the camp knife, a little smaller than the camp knife.
Okay.
I'm trying to think what it would. I'll tell you what it would be comparable to is this guy, which is Survive. It's along this lines.
Survive Knives.
Survive Knives, known for reliability in delivery.
And you just happened to walk into a dealership that had somebody else's delivery.
Yeah. I apologize to whoever paid for this knife. I paid for it again.
Yeah, you didn't do anything wrong.
It really is a shame because from what I understand, they made a really good knife.
I told you we had one that I ended up selling and didn't know because it was in an unknown box with the American flag on it. When the guy opened it and we looked at it, it was a Survive, and he bought it not knowing it was a Survive, but based on the quality of the knife. And it happened to be what he was looking for.
The one I got to handle was a very well-made knife.
Yeah.
This is a very well-made knife. It's a very well-made knife. It's not as insanely well-made as maybe the legend would lead you to believe. But it is well-made. There's a lot of attention to detail. But some of it created the problem because they couldn't get them out. Basically, the perfect was the enemy of the good. And so like they just didn't get them out, and then it just got dishonest after a while. But like there's a number of things. The tolerances in which these screws are recessed counterboard is excellent. This is their custom hardware. The way they finished the G10 or the micarta is really perfect. All the edges here are they are what's the word, crowned very nicely. Very nice finish. I'm not even sure. This is excellent machining work.
But that's a lot of time, right, Gary? I mean, don't you think
Cycle
it's
time on the
already a lot of
machine,
time?
yeah. And none of this makes it cut better. And so, you know, the bevels are good. It's good. It is an excellent knife. I mean, I would say even fit and finish wise, there are things about it that are just better than most knives out there, even some of my own. But you got to deliver that, you know. And the other challenge is, at the end of the day, this is a bolt together knife with a micarta scales. So where is the law of diminishing returns in terms of really dialing in the most minute details?
I would rather it be a little less perfect and it actually show up in my mailbox after I paid for it.
Yes, most people would.
Right.
Most people would, and so I get it. I mean, I get it. They
Yeah, because there's things that I do to knives now that I buy. Like if I bought an Emerson today, I'm sure I would probably hand sand the scale some, and I wouldn't care. I would be fine with having to touch it up a little bit, you know, especially knowing that it's not a mistake. It's just how they make knives.
Yeah.
You know, I wouldn't have an issue with that. I don't think that many people would have cared if the inset on that screw was just a little bit different. But I get it.
I was
But
wondering.
I wonder how much of the
down.
I'm a perfectionist thing, how much of that became an excuse.
Yes.
Because it started to feel like an excuse.
I don't know if any of you guys got to look at my MagnaCut video, Survive and MagnaCut video.
Your rebuttal.
Yeah, I get into some of that.
I'll share
it. In terms of like,
John,
okay,
don't play it because you'll mess it up.
No, I'm just going to share it in the chat.
They ended up, besides all the loans that didn't get repaid, you know, they ended up not delivering about 4,000 blades, give or take. And that's a lot. One of the problems is, though, this knife, I think I paid either $175, $225. This is a $300-$400 knife. That's the other problem. And so that made it hard to make. And the problem is when you're getting that far out with full price pre-orders, it's hard to know. Like if you're making some knives, getting some knives out, making some knives, getting some knives out. Like you can kind of keep track of how much they're costing you to make, but you know, and then so the whole MagnaCut debacle. So their Kydex is made by a company. I forget the name of the company. It's a one of the big Kydex companies. They made this Kydex, and the MagnaCut blades came in, and they were a little after heat treat. They decarbed a little bit because they did an annealing cycle in atmosphere to straighten the blades. So when they came back to Survive, they had a little bit of decarb on them, you know, just a little bit. So generally that's not a big deal. You just walk a couple thousandths off on a surface grinder, boom, you're clean and fresh and new. But they already had the Kydex done. So if the Kydex, you know, you put that Kydex in and now your knife is 10 thousandths thinner, everything's off and it's rattling and whatever. But the Kydex people did about $75,000 worth of Kydex that they never got paid for. So I mean, it's
but here's the thing: when it comes down to it, he was blaming that he couldn't do it because of the decarb, and it was MagnaCut's fault, and he couldn't get the blades out. When you could have paid two people $10 an hour to sit there and heat up some Kydex and mold it to the new blades and be able to deliver the actual good blade.
Yeah, you could probably adjust. You could probably, like right here. My light's not the good.
Make you bigger. You'll be able to see it better.
Trying to get there, right there. That's right there. That's a little retention spot. That's what's holding this in here. And so you could just heat that up and push that in a little, and 10,000 is not very much. Like 10 thousandths is like 2 human hairs.
Right. It's not like you having to make it bigger and they won't fit. They could have been resolved if he didn't. It sounds like he was making excuses in the video I saw. And guys, the link I posted was Gary's kind of response to that video.
I got mad when he's like, when they said, what did he say? Well, the only reason other knife makers aren't having these problems is because they aren't as high quality as us here at Survive.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh no, that's not what it is at all. And that's when I
I
responded.
learned a very valuable lesson recently in the past couple of months, Gary. I had my first retail order, and I have a lot of chronic health conditions. And it seems like the busier I get, the more of those I have, and it constantly messes my scheduling up. But my point was, I called the retail store and canceled the order because I learned very quickly that I'm not in a place to make batches of knives. Like I'm just I do everything by hand, so everything's handmade, and it was a big learning experience going from trying to make. If you ask me, could I make 10 of my thugs and make them really nice? Sure. But for some reason, I couldn't make 10 at the same time and have them turn out as nice as I wanted them. I think it just requires a whole different, I don't know if it's a different talent or if it's, different machinery required or what it is. And I'm not defending the guy, but it does, people don't realize how hard it is to put together a batch of, would you say 10,000 knives? Whatever
4,000 is the orders 4, that got stiffed.
Right.
Yeah.
But that doesn't excuse him not paying people back. But
And
yeah,
still going after the orders.
Yeah, and the Kydex being a little loose because of some decarb, that's not something I would have thought about ahead of time either.
I wouldn't have made the Kydex before my blades were done.
I wouldn't have either, but I'm sure.
Now, Larkin grinds my blades, both the Minnow and the Mako, to 105 thousandths thickness.
Right.
I send them heat treated blanks ready to go, cleaned up around the perimeter. And they range from 125 to 140. So he's got 15 to whatever it is, 40 thousandths to clean up. Right. So he's down in the real good steel. There's no question. If there's any wiggle in the heat treat, all that goes away with the double disc grinding. And so every blade's perfect. And then it gets ground with a burger grinder, which is a commercial knife grinder. And this company that does the grinding, Larkin, you've heard of Bradford Knives.
Yeah.
Bradford Larkin is the owner of Larkin Precision Grinding. Larkin Precision Grinding has most likely ground many knives that you've had in your pocket.
Interesting.
I think what was like to me, Gary, is when I found out how many knives, and I'll never say names, but how many knives and knife companies out there that you buy from, and then found out that how many of them are actually made by, I always get these two companies mixed up, but how many of them are made by New Jersey Steel Bearing?
Oh, you mean just cut out, or that?
You can have a whole knife made there.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Now they won't do the heat treat, but they have a source. Mm-hmm. And I was shocked when I realized how many.
They will OEM a knife. Is that what you're saying?
No.
Okay.
No, that's not what I'm saying.
It's not turnkey.
That people are selling their knives with their name on it. That was 95% made by New Jersey Steel Bearing.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, Larkin
turnkey source.
Huh?
So they're not a turnkey resource. They'll make all the parts for you, but they're not assembling and putting.
Yeah, they're not going to assemble it. But yeah, they can. And the only reason I was curious about that is all these people say you can't have a folder made in the United States. That's completely wrong. What they meant to say is I can't have a folder made in the United States and have the percentage of profit that I want to make off my design. That's the true statement. And that sounds bad, but it's also real life. I mean, you have to make something if that's what you want to do as a business.
To answer Todd Carr's question, it depends. A lot of those folklore beasts I have been heat treating in-house, and I can heat treat in-house, and I know how to heat treat. But most of, especially like the Makos and Minnows, I've used Peters. I've used Paul Boss heat treating. But actually recently I've been using VacuBraze, which is again, it's one of the things about being sort of in the industrial Northeast. 30 minutes away, no shipping. I save a week just on shipping, and they got a big facility. Like I was like, where have you guys been my whole life? Like and their prices are better, and so I tell them, I say, austinize it at this temperature, hold it there for this long, quench it with 4 bars of nitrogen, temper it at this temperature, quench it at 4 bars of nitrogen. Then within 10 minutes of that quench, get it into liquid nitrogen. And then after that, so like it's spelled out. The way a lot of guys use
it's awesome that they'll follow your recipe step by step. You're not having to accept something that they already do.
They do, and they give me a cert.
Yeah.
Like they give me a cert sheet that they've done that. Whereas Peter's, Brad, he retired, and I forget who's there now, but people would just say to Brad, all right, here's some MagnaCut, get her at 62 or get her at 64 or whatever it is. And he would just take care of it from there. And they would not, it'd be hard to get Peter's to do that. I'm not sure they would do that. Whereas this company
is too big. I mean, they have to do so many at a time. It's hard for them to do a custom to order.
Yeah. Now I'm usually sending them 200 to 400 blades.
Right.
So, I mean, I'm filling up one of their furnaces, but, yeah, so this company does it. They does it. And I won't say the price, but I will say that it is 1/2 of Peter's price and 100% is good.
And you don't have to ship them. You can drive them over, pick them up.
Drive them over and pick them up. That's dangerous. I've lost like blades break and and it's time. And like Peter's, even though it's in Pennsylvania, also, it's on the other side of Pennsylvania, and it's like a UPS post office black hole.
Like, it's one of those destinations that you just hate to have stuff go through.
It just takes forever. It's like 4 or 5 days. It took your knife forever to get there.
Yeah.
It went to like Chicago, and it was like, and then it's like delayed, and like I'm like, was this gonna get there? But
it showed up today. It's fine.
But so so that's the process. And so like for instance, so it goes from heat treat, and then I grind have the bevel. I have them tumbled after they're double disc ground. They tumble them, and then they grind the bevel, and then they come back to me. I laser them, I sharpen them, I assemble them, I fix any problems, if there's any inconsistencies or whatever, and then they go out. So that's the PG series. However, the folklores and the omnivores, those are hand ground. Like I leave, you can see it a little bit. The scales are a little proud of the tang is a little proud of the scales, and that's on purpose. And they're tumbled, so they're soft edges.
I actually like that. I know people that don't, but I've always liked the tang. I don't do mine that way because I don't know how to do it without messing it up.
Shadow box.
I can explain why I like a shadow box scale, but I do.
Yeah,
I think it looks really good.
And these,
it's not an ergonomics issue.
It's only shadow boxed by maybe 10 thousandths or
Right.
something. It's not a lot. Right. I did have one lady once. She's like, "Oh, this creates a hot spot. Can you fix this?" I'm like, "Well, it's sort of the design of the knife, but if you want to send it back, I'll grind it down." Right. But one of the things with the 3D printed, see, G10 I can grind against and refinish, and it looks fine. This stuff doesn't like the grinder.
Right. It wants to be printed and done.
So it's got to be right. And the funny thing is, we go around the perimeters by hand because you get a better finish than a mill can do. So
you do that once it's on the knife. You go around.
No, we do it before. We actually do it before it goes out to heat treat.
I got you.
Yep, I do it before it goes out to heat treat. So we're doing that now with a bunch of Magnum Max minnows.
Gary, I assume when you started, you were making the whole kit and caboodle, and then you got to a place to where you had to scale, so to speak, right? About how long were you? And you don't have to say how many blades, but was that a short time from when you were making knives and selling them to where you figured you had to find these strategic partners to bring it all together at a scalable rate?
I quickly learned that if I wanted to make anything close to an actual livable income, you and unless you're like prolifically known and everybody's going to pay top dollar for your work, which was not the case at all, the business model just didn't work. I enjoy the process. I still enjoy the process. And if I ever got, to be a big company, I would still have a custom shop where we would just make one-off handmade knives that are, special gold label or, whatever. Like this
Sure,
is
because you love to do that. It just didn't
Yeah, I
scale
enjoy
for
I
your
enjoy the process. Yeah.
right.
And as semi-production, production knives go, and this is only the Mako in the middle. We got our hands on them a lot. So like I cut them in the shop on my laser. The laser leaves a good bit of dross, it's called. It's like slag on the bottom side.
Yeah.
So we got to clean all that off. I just like when I was dialing in the laser, like I was having issues and like the stuff was moving, so the holes were in the wrong spot. But now they're like halfway heat treated. And so I was trying to salvage some of these Magnamax because they're $425 a piece. I was trying to salvage some of these Magnamax folklores. And so yeah. So a lot of it happens in the shop. It's not like there are companies out there. I won't mention names because I can't remember all of them, but they don't do any of it. It like they send it all out to Larkin or whoever, or White River. That's another company that does a lot of that sort of thing. Well, White River will OEM a knife.
Right. They did one for Jack Wolf, and I know they did some kitchen knives for Liang Ma.
Yeah. They'll do that. There's minimums. It's like a 300 piece minimum. But when you got to buy 300 pieces, let's say you're making a chef's knife. Holy mackerel, that is and especially if you want to make it out of something special.
Quite an order.
That's just you're 50.
That is the great thing about small knives is you can get more out of that sheet. Yeah.
Well, I think I did the minnow and Magnamax
Right.
because I only had one sheet of it.
Right. Yeah. I mean that makes sense. And fortunately for you, small fixies are the thing right now. So
they are, but I think the Mako would be a lot more popular than the minnow in general. The minnow, I have had a couple people buy the minnow and just didn't read the specs, and they're like, "This is too small." Yeah. And I'm like, "All right." So, yeah.
I think it's just perfect. I think the swells in the handle make it feel so much different than similar sized knives. Chickadee, one of my favorites. It's just it gives it purchase. It makes it feel really good.
I can 100% agree that a swell in the handle is probably the most ergonomic handle.
Yeah.
But my OCD can't handle it. I don't hate that it's on other knives, but I won't do it. I don't know. It's just I don't enjoy it. But I have held them, and I know that it does make, especially if you're going to be cutting for a long period of time, it is probably the best handle shape for that. But it's just not my style, so I don't do that.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Having a handle this chunky on a knife this small is unusual.
Yeah.
Like TRM has a small little knife. And I was,
the tag along.
Yeah, the tag along.
It's just a 3-finger knife, though.
It's comparable. The blade is such a different shape. That blade comes down and rounds that nose there, and you got that really like abrupt
drastic drop point. But Gary, the scales are so much thinner.
Oh yeah, they're super
even
thin.
Though it doesn't feel even in the same ballpark. I love this knife, don't get me wrong, but the grip does not feel as fluffy in the hand. Fluffy is the wrong word, but it's full.
I have people complain that my scales are too thin, and I get that. I mean, I understand, because everybody has a different opinion on what's comfortable. But
looking for something a little bit different.
So how's the sharpening business clinging work? Clinging?
It's solid. It's solid. I wanted to kind of bring this up with and see what you guys think. I was thinking about going to the point where I'm not that I dislike it, but I don't like the wide interactions I have. I'm thinking about closing it off to just previous customers going forward.
Why would you do that, Kyle? Do you have enough previous customers that you just don't want to deal with fresh people?
It's not that I don't want to deal with them. It's just that there's a lot more time involvement with it, the way I handle things. So
with your concierge service?
Yeah, with walking them through the process and everything else, it takes a lot longer than just like if I've worked with you before, we kind of know we have a repertoire of like, this is how things are going to work with this. Tell me what you're looking for, or tell me free reign and go with it. And you don't have to worry about payments. You don't have to worry about, all the different aspects of a new customer. And not that I have a problem with new customers. Don't get me wrong. It's just, I think I could stay busy enough to where I'm happy, because I've never taken this to the point where I want to expand so much that I'm crazy swamped, because it's not enjoyable for me at that point. I want to have a steady base and still enjoy it and be able to teach when I can. So I'm thinking about doing that. I don't know how well that will go.
Is this a full-time gig for you, the sharpening?
Kind of, but I mean, yes and no. So, but it's not to a point where I don't have to stay so swamped and so busy that I'm not chasing the dollars. Does that make sense?
The guy that worked, one of the guys that, well, actually both of the guys that work for me are sharpeners. They probably sharpen more the knives anymore than I did. Like the knife that you have, is the minnow you got. It was sharpened by Paul, I believe. And so I don't do as much of it, but they both want to sort of supplement. I'm not to the point where I can pay them full time yet. So they want to, and they're sharpening to sort of fill in some of the gaps. But they, the one guy, he's a down and dirty, like farmer's market, bring me your tired and destroyed knives. And
yeah,
so he does like a lot of just a lot of sharpening, and he's pretty inexpensive. He's $1 an inch. And he doesn't have a minimum.
I don't get that at all. That makes no sense.
Yeah, it has to make dollars to make sense to me. And to me, I go at it from a different perspective. How I'm offering services is more of a, like we talked about before, it's more of a personalized one-on-one thing. You're getting walk through the experience. You're also getting, I kind of specialize in super steels and also in, odd blade shapes that people.
And the higher end knife buyer is the one that seeks you out too. You're not.
Yeah, I do a lot of customs, a lot of high end stuff. Where I'd say probably on average the cheapest knife that comes through my doors is probably in that $200 range, $250.
Yeah,
that's on the low end, and I get a lot of them that are in the 4 or 5 digits. So, I was at that point at one point with that gentleman that you spoke of that liked to just sharpen constantly. But to me, I'm not at that point anymore where I enjoy it that much to where, plus I'm not doing it with motors as well either. So I don't want to, my time is more valuable, I guess, because I'm sure he's got a little small belt system he's using for doing $1 an inch.
Yeah, actually, I sold him his latest one. It was one of those little Chinese ones with the variable speed, the 1x30.
Yeah,
with the variable. So it's it's just like a 60 grit on there, or a 120 grit on there, and then he uses those paper wheels.
Gotcha. But he's knocking a knife out in 4 minutes, 5 minutes tops.
Oh yeah,
right.
Oh yeah.
And that's what I was going to tell you, Kyle. Tate down at Knives and More just because John got tired of doing it. It's what I think is the biggest, not a grift, but it's a huge moneymaker. So many people bring their knives down there to have them sharpened, whether it's their EDC knife while they wait or their block of kitchen knives. And Tate's got that wheel. Shane's seen it. It's got like a wheel on one side, and on the other side, it's got like a little stropping wheel, and it's made for sharpening knives. Takes him about 4 minutes per knife to get a really good edge on it. He charges $5 cash or $6 credit card for the processing fee, and he gets 4 of the 5, leaves 1 for the store, and so he walks out of there every day with like an extra 60 to $100 just from the knives he's sharpened because so many people bring them in. But they're not looking for. He's also got a TS Prof and offers a mirror edge service that goes up, considerably. And he sharpens shears, which are more expensive. I think they're about 15 a pair. He's got a special machine for that. But he's rarely gets somebody that wants a mirror edge like what you do, or a fine edge like what you do.
Mirrors very often, though. I mean,
no, but I'm talking about even for him, you wouldn't use a wheel for the $200 knife that you get in.
No.
He's going to use it for most of the knives unless somebody's specifically asking for something more. I think what you have that's special that I'd like to see you, hopefully people will get more interested and you can use it more, is use the platform privately to show people and spread the knowledge of sharpening to other people who want to do it. Teach people or just give a little how to.
Right now, I don't want to do it. I sharpen knives locally and it's all people I know. It's friends. And I keep their knives what I consider sharp. It's not near the same thing as what Kyle does, but what I've learned, the only reason I continue to do that is because those are the same people who are buying knives from me. So yeah, man, I'll sharpen your Kershaw, or I've got some high-end knife guys, but I keep their pocket knives sharp because they're good to me. They buy knives from me. So man, I wouldn't have any interest in doing it.
I'll show you how I sharpen. I'm going to go downstairs and I'll pop on with my phone and show you my sharpening setup. That might be
cool.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, Kyle, I think it'd be different if I was sharpening other people's knives or if I ever got to that point. But for me, I love it when a knife loses its bite and I can put it on and sharpen it. Well, and I have resorted to the blue tape. I've got to order some more because it does work once I get it ground through.
To me, there's a huge difference in quality of abrasives and what kind of edge you're getting off of it. So there's no comparison from a belt edge to a stone edge. It's not as good.
Right. But Kyle, I think that people who are walking in to Knives and More with a $20 knife, if they didn't care,
absolutely,
or $180 Benchmade,
they're not going to care anymore to pay for a good sharpening.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
What are you talking about, Dom? I can do freehand as well.
Yeah, he offers both.
Yeah, I do freehand.
But I will say this in my experience. Go ahead.
What do you mean bullshit?
Yeah, how would you know that?
You want me to show you my bench stone so you can know what I'm talking about?
Gary, tell me when I can make you big.
He's saying that because there's a TS Prof right in front of you, Kyle.
All right. Oh, there we go.
But there's 3 Shafton bench stones.
Ooh. Hold on 1 second, Kyle. I'm going to come back. I'm just looking at the close-up of this machine. What kind of machine is that?
Tradesman's Edge. Now, Gary, do you have to replace those whole wheels, or is there something that is there a replaceable product that goes on that wheel?
So this is a CBN wheel here. I'm trying to get you a wider.
That's like bonded diamonds, right?
No, it's plated.
Okay.
Here, there's a wider view. There we go. So yeah, this is the wheel, and this is an 800 grit. And now it's like a Tormek. Hey, look at my Viper chair. That was my Christmas gift to myself.
I
You know how
like it.
expensive these stupid things are? They're cool
Is
though.
it
Now I have
comfortable?
one. I'm part of the club. Yeah, it is. It is. It's a good chair. Is it $500 good? I don't know. But so this is it. It uses a Tormek jig. I'll put the knife in there, and it's variable speed. But what's cool about it, unlike the Tormek, when I'm in the jig sharpening and I come over to the wheel that's loaded with my emulsions, it's the exact same diameter.
Right.
So I'm not rounding it over. I'm not convexing it. So
Since
it
you
gets that.
mentioned your emulsions, Gary, I want to buy some of your 6 micron. I can't
Yeah.
find it on your website where I can just buy the 6 micron. All I could find was the 3-pack.
Buy it from Sharpening Supplies.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
they sell the individuals. They'll get it to you a lot faster than I will. It's the same price.
Perfect. I sent you a message. You can disregard it, Gary.
I appreciate you letting me know that because
Yeah. They've been slowly ordering more and more and more too. Yeah,
And what was the name of that company again, real quick?
I'll send you a link.
Sharpening Supplies.
Okay, I thought it was the same one, Kyle. I just wasn't sure.
So the good thing about, and I want to say this, Gary, so people can understand what I'm talking about. The good thing about what you're doing there is by using a CBN wheel, you're getting the quality of the abrasive like you would from a CBN stone. The abrasive from a belt is nowhere in comparison to as good as the quality from a CBN stone.
Oh no, yeah.
And that is a whole different aspect than what you're getting from a belt. And you're not, and being at variable speed and potentially water cooled. I don't know if yours is water cooled like a Tormek or not, but
what it does is down here there's a little tray. I get on my own way here. Yeah, there's this little tray. You can put a sponge in there and wet it, and
Okay.
but I find it doesn't really generate enough heat for me to worry about. When I'm sharpening a bunch of blades, so I actually don't run the water on it anymore.
Gotcha.
Yeah, but they say these last forever. Not after hundreds and hundreds of super steel blades. They don't.
Right. And I mean, I've gone through the good thing though. I'll tell you one thing: CBN lasts way longer than plain diamonds because I've got both, and CBN is the future. CBN does phenomenal stones, and they're worth the difference in price. They're a little bit more than plain diamonds, but they're
That
worth.
looks like a perfect way. I can see why you would not use anything without a motor after sitting behind that for a while.
Yeah, I mean, I can sharpen a Mako from 0 to screaming sharp in if I had a tripod, I'd set it up and sharpen one. It in I don't know, 45 seconds, a minute.
But what I was
and a
asking
half.
is, when that CBN wheel wears out, do you just replace the entire wheel?
Yep.
And so, how much are they? Very expensive. I'm sure they're expensive.
Yeah, they're pricey.
Okay.
I've been using Amazon ones, believe it or not, and they've been okay, but they're still a couple $200-$300,
right?
Something like that.
The one I was going to hook you up with, Gary, was I did some business with a company called Poltava. They're one of the major brands of high end. But so you have Poltava, which is Ukrainian, and Venive, which is, I'm sure you've heard of Venive.
Japanese,
Russian.
Okay.
And they're the two largest stone manufacturers in Europe/Asia over there as far as industrial stuff. So they do way more stuff than doing for knife stuff. So they do a lot of wheels. They do stuff for industrial machines, gears, and all that kind of stuff. But they just got into the knife side of it now, and they do a lot of high end CBN wheels and the CBN stones. And I've had a ton of good luck with them. And I was even thinking about bringing some of their stuff over, but to sell, but the margins just weren't enough to make it worthwhile for an opening order. But they have some phenomenal wheels, but they're pricey though. So
but they last forever almost, don't they? Really? I mean,
they last a long time. So they're, put it this way, they're bench stone, Gary. They're 8x3 bench stone, single sided, one grit is 3 something, and it's only like 3 mils thick.
Oh wow!
But
This actually was not a. This is a 1200 that I got from Wood Turners. Yeah, they were at Blade one year. I'm gonna go back up to the other. Hey, there's some strops. There's a hardness tester. That's a really cool old school Japanese one. Here's some orders. Yeah.
So you got your shop right there where you crash out. That's awesome.
Well, sort of actually. Like this is actually in my house, but there's the shop, which is a separate building.
That's just where you can do work
For the dirty work.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
the dirty work.
The dirty work. So
Gary, I hate to back up an hour, but there was a question you said we'd go back to because it's something I've always wanted to know. When Larry posts his toughness charts, it'll have a number, and it usually goes, I think, from like 0 to 50 in increments of 5 on the left, and it says pounds. It's like 5 pounds, 10 pounds. What exactly? How does that test work? Like, what is he doing to get the toughness number? Is it an impact?
Yeah, it's called a Charpy Impact C test.
Okay.
It's they put a coupon. They put a coupon in a holder,
Right.
and then there's like a pendulum that swings,
Right.
and it hits it, and somehow it measures how much force it took until it failed. And failing can be bending, and failing can be snapping.
Okay. So is that like using a laser to see deflection, or is it?
No, it's just measuring how much force it took for it to move.
Okay.
You remember, Shane? You remember that old Cold Steel video?
Yeah, I think I've seen this machine.
It's not like that, but it's similar to that, right, Gary? From my understanding.
So the way
I don't remember the video, but it's like it's a pendulum in it.
Right.
So the numbers related to the amount of weight on the pendulum,
the amount of torque that the pendulum created when it did it.
Okay. It's a little more high tech than what I was picturing something he put a 5 pound weight on, then a 10 pound weight.
And that's an impact test.
Right.
So just a straight force. So there's a difference between toughness and strength.
Kitty.
Yeah. But usually for the most part, they just go with the toughness test.
Oh,
So
people don't realize too.
That I see are impact, not just bending until they snap.
Yeah, it's like an impact strike with this pendulum thing.
Okay, I was just curious about that.
You're not getting a lot of side load testing out there, but from the weird thing too, Gary, is that a lot of people don't get the difference between toughness and edge stability. There is some relationship there, but it's not completely. I mean, obviously it has to have, depending upon the makeup of the carbides and so forth, but everyone thinks, oh, well, just because it's tougher, it's going to have better edge stability, which is not necessarily the case.
Not always, but they do run together most of the time in a relatively similar way, but there are exceptions at times. And yeah, so that toughness test tells you a lot, but it doesn't tell you everything. Yeah, but if you ever want to look up the test, I think Laren has a video on it, like a Charpy C test.
Well, guys, I got to jump off here. I'll be in the chat, but yeah, I appreciate y'all having me on. And
Shane, glad you jumped on, brother. And remember, not this weekend, but next weekend if we can make it.
Yeah, unless something.
I know.
Good Lord willing, the creek don't rise, I'll be there, buddy.
Shane, check your messages when you get off here. I had a question for you.
All right, man. See y'all
later.
Hey Gary, did you say the next knives you were sending to Cedric and Ada's channel to have tested, or you were just getting ready to get some ready? I couldn't remember.
What I'm going to send to him is a CPM MagnaCut Mako and a Aerosteel MagnaCut Mako.
Gotcha.
To test side by side in the exact same knife with the exact same geometry and the exact same sharpening.
Gotcha. To see how those two plants or whatever you want to call them that made that steel hold up if they're the same or similar? Or
Yes.
that'll be, I think, a fascinating video. Is that going
Yeah.
to be in the next few months, or is that coming up sooner than later? I'll
I
always
don't
see
know.
his videos because I think he only posts monthly or bi-monthly.
Yeah, I got to ship him the blade. It's so expensive to ship to Australia.
It's crazy, isn't it? Overseas
45
is,
bucks.
yeah.
I ship internationally and I charge $70 to ship a knife internationally. And somebody might say, well, it doesn't cost $70 to ship internationally. But the problem is it's way more stress. Believe it or not, I've only ever lost 2 knives in shipping. Both of them were international. So not only did I lose the knife, but I lost the $45 in shipping. So that's why I charge 70. That's my insurance fee. That's my, I might have to make you a new knife fee. That's my,
Because it could get customs could take it, or
yeah, all kinds of stuff. So I'm not trying to punish people in other countries. Just, I'm just trying to cover my costs. And
the 1 micron's in low stock, guys. So Richard just put a link in the chat. If y'all are looking for these individual stropping lotions from Creeley, I'm going to jump on here shortly, but you might want to jump into sharpeningsupplies.com. They're 25 bucks and it looks like a great bottle. The dispensing I know is awesome, but I could always get a 3 micron. It's low stock.
Is that at Sharpening Supplies?
I'm at Sharpening Supplies.
Yeah, they just ordered more.
Yeah, it could be that it hadn't. They might just always put that on there for.
I haven't put the order in yet. No, I would have guessed that they're. I would guess that that's.
But they've got all 3 grits in stock. And I love the way you've done the bottle because I was using my stroppy stuff just this past weekend.
Yeah.
And even spraying it right up close, it's not the same.
No. I got it because I was solving problems I was having with other things. And I think for Sharpening Supplies, they didn't specify, but for Sharpening Supplies, they said they were having trouble with other brands keeping it in stock. Like they'd be out of stock for long periods of time.
They wouldn't be able to restock when they were ready.
One of the things Stroppy Stuff does that makes it challenging for them, they do a lot more grit sizes, which I don't think is necessary. And maybe for certain really specialized thing. So they have a lot more SKUs in that regard. And then they have multiple bottle styles, like there's a pump and a spray, I believe.
Right.
Correct.
And then there are multiple sizes. And that just adds a great deal of complexity and supply chain challenges and all kinds of other stuff. So
and would it be fair to say that the formulation has to be different for the spray than the pump, or is it the same product?
Probably the same for them because it's pretty thin either way.
Yeah, I've not had an issue with either one of them, John. I've got both. And
yeah,
I have been sold on that on Stroppy because I like it. I actually have equal, if not better, results than Scott's stuff. And Scott makes great stuff, but I tend to like Stroppy stuff better.
The gunny juice?
It's more readily available and it's cheaper now, which is, and I've got so much right now that I'm not going to need it for a while. But I will try some of yours out, Gary. I'll
be very interested in your opinion. I in terms of the actual cutting performance, I would say at a minimum it is equivalent to Stroppy Stuff.
Okay.
At a minimum. But in terms of ease of use, it is. Those were the. I didn't have a problem with how Scott's stuff cut. I didn't have a problem with how other people's stuff cut. I had a problem with how it was dispensed.
Yeah,
and
it gets messy.
That once you use this, and it's the carrier that it's in is super kiddie. Leave me alone. The carrier that it's in is really high quality shoe leather conditioner.
Does it work well with other substrates or only on leather?
It works on. It's worked well on everything I've used it on, which is woods and leather.
Okay. Because I've been really hooked on using oak as of recent.
Oh yeah, it works great on there.
Okay.
The one piece of advice is, let it dry for at least 10 minutes or so. Let it,
Sure.
especially on wood. It soaks in pretty fast on leather, but on wood, yeah, just let it. But there's like tannins and stuff in this carrier, and it's a happy accident because the carrier also suspends the diamonds pretty well.
Gotcha.
And so it makes it so much easier to spread.
Gotcha.
Like, yeah, I think you're going to be very pleased with it. Cutting performance. Now I'm using American source diamonds, which means they're more consistent in size than a lot of the Chinese diamonds have a lot of dirt in them.
Right.
And like, so you get 3 micron, you're gonna have 1 micron, you have 2 micron, you got half micron, you're gonna have 3 micron.
I can't see that screen, John. What grits are you offering, or microns are you offering? I should say
1, 3, and 6.
Okay.
1, 3, and 6, and then there's a special one, but it's $65 for a bottle. So I know it's
is that the stuff you got from Gunny? Because it's called
that's his grit in my carrier.
Okay.
I made it.
Quarter.
That's a 0.5.
It's 0.5, but it's polydiamond rather than mono, so it's going to behave like much smaller than 0.5.
Right. Yeah, because monocrystalline is a little rougher.
Yeah, monocrystalline solid chunks. Polydiamond is like a cluster of chunks. Have you eaten those gummy nerd things that they have?
I just had some last night.
That's like polydiamond.
Right. Right.
Like they're like that. So
that's a good way to explain a good abrasive on a stone as well too. Is they're not using the monos, they're using the polys, where it's actually you have a complete spread across. You don't have huge areas that you're missing.
What you get with the poly, I think, is you get an effective scratch pattern that is finer than the particle size would lead you to believe.
Right.
And secondly, you get higher aggression than if you just had particles that size, that smaller size.
That's what you're getting in a lot of these higher ended resin bonded stones, whether it be CBN or diamond. You're getting more of that. It's a 600, but it performs like, it cuts like a 600, but it has the appearance of like an 800 or 900. It's a little shinier.
What was the Ukrainian company you had mentioned for the abrasive?
Poltava, Poltava. And if you go on the website and see what they've got, and if you want to order some, I've got the rep's email I can get to you.
Okay. So they don't have like an online store per se.
I don't know if they sell directly to the store. From my understanding, when you called them, you could actually get, I think if you talk to them, you could actually get better deals than.
Does Hapstone sell it?
Hapstone sells their stones. They don't sell any of the wheels. I don't know of anyone in the States that sells the wheels directly.
Okay.
That's why, because I got part of their silver series of their stones before they even got released, and he wanted me to do some testing on them. And they are by far the best core stone I've ever used. Well, here, let me grab one. This is the main one that I use. It's their
big
silver series, CBN vitrified.
Okay.
225 grit technically, but this thing cuts like a 60 or 80 grit diamond stone, and it doesn't get the wear out like like an Atoma. A 140 Atoma cuts real fast for 10, 12 knives, and it starts dying off pretty quick. And then
so that's a CBN 100 grit.
It's 100/50 micron. It's 225 grit.
Oh, 225 grit, and you say it cuts like 100 grit?
Yeah, like under 100 grit. It cuts like an 80. I mean, it's aggressive, and it has started to slow down. But I've got probably close to 100 knives on this already.
Can you dress it?
Yeah, I mean, I clean them, and about about once every 30 knives, I'll actually condition them. I haven't done it on this one because I'm scared to, but I think from my understanding, you can actually etch them, but I don't want to mess with it because it is such a workhorse for me. But I think you can actually etch them to get them to come back a little bit. But these are absolutely phenomenal. This is the best core stone on the market. If you're going to be a heavy user, like there are plenty, if you don't sharpen very often, there are plenty of good stones out there. But if you're going to sharpen a lot, this is the best. And I've tried damn near all of them. I've tried the Atomas. I've tried the plain, basic, DMTs, all that kind of stuff. Even the Veneves. The Veneves cut okay, but they don't cut nearly as fast as something like that. But they're the real deal when it comes to. They make good medium stones. I've not had a ton of success with their more medium to high grit.
Paul, no, that's
because I'm comparing them to my kind of my gold standard is now the Alpha Stones. It's a resin bonded diamond for TS Prof, but it's made by Poltava. I'm sorry, it's made by Veneve, and they give a better finish. That's these here, the Alpha Stones. But I'll even hold these in hand and sharpen with these or hone with these. And these give the best finish. These give a better finish than the regular Veneve stones do. And so that's why I'll switch up. I go from this and 2 1/4 typically. And my next stone that I go to is the 240 from the Alpha line, which seems silly, but there is a huge difference in an actual scratch pattern. So I'll go to 240, just clean that up real quick, and then I'll move up if I need to go to like a 600.
Paul, it's just this 0.5 polycrystalline that's $65. There's only one that's in that 65 range. The main 3 are 25. Sorry to interrupt you guys.
The abrasive for the poly diamond is literally 10 times more expensive than the mono diamond.
Yeah.
And
well, that's like these. I mean, that's a 6x1. That's not a lot, right? And these are like $110.
Oh wow.
Yeah, they're pricey, but for someone like me, that's well worth it because I'm going to get all the money out of it and then some. Because this has lasted me probably already 3 Atoma stones, and I actually like the results of it better. And when you compare 3 Atoma stones to this is a steal.
The company that makes that sharpening machine, Cutter Masters, they have a vitrified stone version. Now, what's interesting, a vitrified CBN. What's interesting is they said that the vitrified stone has a finer scratch pattern than an equivalent diamond or CBN of the same grit. But then,
that's based on the binder, though.
When you first use the CBN wheel, it's very aggressive, cuts very fast. But after you use it a while, it ends up behaving like a much lower grit than what it actually is. That has been my experience with the CBN wheels.
So even on this, same thing. When I first got it, it started cutting like an 80. Now it cuts probably somewhere just below 225, probably like 150 to 200 range. It's starting to show signs, but again, I put it through its paces. I mean, like I said, I've got probably at least 100 knives on this. That's a lot.
Yeah.
And the good thing is it takes the brunt of work. If I'm doing most of the work with this, that's the most important stone. Then I go to, my other stones. All I'm doing is cleaning up and refining. They're not taking
100 knives. That's one day sharpening.
I
don't have that much energy to do 100 in one day.
Well, he's got a motor. Hey, Kyle, were you saying
my motor's not that good?
Are those Poltavas? Are they vitrified?
Silvers is the series you want.
Okay, I'm looking at grinding wheels with vitrified bond. I was going to.
So you remember when
a site called PD Tools Super Abrasive?
That's Poltava. Yeah, PD Tools is Poltava. So Poltava makes a lot of stones for other companies, same as Veneve makes stones for other companies as well too. And they just have them as private labels, like Hapstone.
Yeah.
Those are made by Poltava. Those new TS Prof Alphas, those are made by Veneve. That is just but they have different levels. So like Poltava would sell Hapstone stones at like their lower quality levels and have them as a OEM. And then they have like the next level up, and then they have their own, which they don't sell off, and that's their top of their line. So,
one of the reasons you talk to a rep to find out kind of what you could.
Yeah, I mean, I had a lot of emails back and forth with them, but they're phenomenal. I was actually I had another one of their CBN stones even before I was working with them, and they're doing phenomenal stuff. But like, I don't know if you remember back, Gary, when Sean came out with those stones.
Yeah, I do.
He had those vitrified stones, and they were. I never had one, but they were supposed to be phenomenal. But again, when you get something that big and that much, it's going to cost a ton. I think his were like $500 or $600, but he only could do them in small runs, so they were always unavailable.
Yeah, I remember people would want them, and yeah.
I think Japanese Stone Surplus has some vitrified bench stones, but they're in that $500 to $600 range. But yeah, the stuff. I mean, it's expensive when you get into it, but if you're using it for industrial or using it hardcore all the time, it's well worth it. You're actually
thousands of knives.
Yeah, if you're making money with it, that's different than like it's just your hobby or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, if I've got to buy 3 Atomas at $70 a piece versus buying one at 110, I mean, obviously I'm going to go the better route, and I'm getting better results out of it too. So,
right. Yeah.
It's like everything though. When you get into whatever you are looking for, finish wise and cutting abilities, how much time is it going to cost you, and what's the finish like? And you got to get a good balance of those two.
And my goal is to be, just ahead of the top manufacturing companies sharpening. Right. And that's what we're looking to achieve, and we do. And frankly, the secret sauce is the emulsions. That's because I do one grit, raise a burr, knock it off with the emulsion. That's it. And so I'm probably getting. I don't know. I think I'm getting probably right around 100 in best scores.
Gotcha.
So I mean, it's good. That's good.
Yeah, that is.
That's way sharper than majority of people are used to. And
that's true.
The weird thing is once you start getting below like 50 or 60, I mean, I can do it, but you start losing all your bite, and you start losing the long-term edge resistance or edge retention on that, because most of the time that's someone who's absolutely stropped the shit out of that thing and has taken it through 6 different strops trying to get that last little bit, and it's not going to last. I mean, it's more likely going to slick out on them.
Yeah. I've thought about going down to maybe like an 800 grit or a 600 grit, and then buffing to get sort of sharpened mini serrations.
I think honestly the key for like uber sharp but still usable is in that 65 to 85 best test. I mean, if you're going for super sharp, I think that's your range. And most of the time when you see guys doing in the 20s and below, most of the time that's complete bullshit. They're cheating the system, because the best test I'm not a huge fan of, because there's so many variables, and depending upon the person and how they're using it, it can be cheated quite easily.
It can be cheated, but the most common thing I see with the best test is the people that don't get I like the preloaded clips.
Right.
It's when they don't have the preloaded clips and then they do it. I believe the manual says you're only supposed to have 1 gram of weight pulling on that string before you tighten it down.
Right.
And so what I think is happening is guys are really stringing them up
like a guitar string, and it's changing all the readings.
Yeah,
right.
And then you do it and you get I've never. I have sharpened like some serious. I've gotten some blades very, very sharp, and I've never gotten scores anywhere near there. And in fact, I'm not sure if I have it in here. It's not in this one, but I took some notes. I shave with a double edge razor.
Yep. Same.
Safety razor, as they say.
Same.
And so I was curious as to like how sharp these brands are. So I have like 20, 30 different brands of these blades. And I was testing with a micrometer how thick they are, and I was best testing them. I broke them in half, put them in a straight razor type of holder, and best tested them. And even they were like the sharpest one might have been 50.
Right.
And yeah, it was interesting. There was a difference between the sharpness and the thickness, and they're thin. They're like
the whole entire blade is probably
5,000.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's less than 10,000.
It's really thin, but it was cool. And it's interesting how different the good ones are compared to the bad ones.
I have Japanese ones. I can't remember the name of the brand.
Feather, probably.
It's a green and white box.
That might be one of the feather colors. There's a few feather colors. There's red and
I went down that rabbit hole for a while, but now I only use it to clean up my neck and above my beard line, the cheeks. But
yeah, I mean, I shave my whole face except for the goatee. But it's interesting. Feather's good, but they're stupid expensive. One of the best ones is Voskod, or I forget. It's a Russian name. It's like Vos something. They were almost as good as the Japanese ones and not as expensive, but with all that was going on in Russia, they're a little harder to get. Yeah, Astra. I tested Gillette. Yeah, all kinds of ones.
When you think about it, you're actually getting 4 blades out of one as well too. You got both sides, and then you up and down, top and bottom. So it's wild. It's by far the best way to shave that I've ever, outside of doing a straight edge from like a barber out.
Now, are you talking about the one that you screw the top down on and you've got blades coming out both sides? Okay.
Yeah. Double edge safety.
Actually, my barber can't give me as good a shave as I can give myself with a double edge.
I mean, if you're going, I remember going to Vegas, and that was, one time went out there and had a good week. So I splurged and went, got freshened up, and man, that was the best shave I've ever had. It was phenomenal.
Yeah. The ones that I've gone to, I've been disappointed with. Yeah. Like they're just not, they use disposable blades for that. They're not an actual straight edge, but I did go to a guy that had an actual straight edge that he used, but it wasn't sharp enough.
Right.
And so, yeah. But
the good thing is, though, what people don't realize, most of those blades are AEBL.
A lot of them are. Yeah.
That's what they were designed for. That's what AEBL was designed for.
Yeah. Yeah. A lot of them are. There's a few varieties. But they're all variations on that theme.
Right.
Simple stainless blades. But yeah, it's a great way to shave. And I can get like a week or more out of a blade.
Yeah, they actually are surprising. They last a decent amount, especially because I'm not shaving a ton of real estate right now. So I mean, I'll get 3 or 4 out of each blade.
What's interesting about them, and I don't know the science behind this. Actually, yeah, I do. Is the second or third shave is the best shave.
Yeah. Break it in a little bit.
Yeah, I think it's burr refinement. Actually, that's my guess. That's my theory, and I'm sticking to it.
That makes perfect sense. I mean, do y'all have problems like when you first started cutting yourself with those? Because I didn't have a great one. I got it off Amazon.
If you use too much pressure, you can.
There's good ones on Amazon and bad ones on Amazon, and the difference between a good one and a bad one is a big difference.
Yeah.
What are you looking for? Just a type of design, or A brand? Is there a brand you recommend?
Edwin Jagger DE89. That is the best one going.
I've got
for the money.
I got the Twisted Silver Barber's Pole. I can't remember the model number from what's that company? You know it if you saw it. I can't think of the name of it off the top of my head. But I went deep down that rabbit hole for a while where I was going to. There's a shop out west that's all they dabble in is shaving supplies and high-end stuff. And they have all types of, specifics about what to, pre-warm your soap at this, and then get for your lather and all the, your conditioning and your butter and all that stuff. So yeah, that's the only problem about that
shaver, Gary. What was the model?
DE89. There's a bunch of variations on the theme, but they're
That's
similar.
a good one.
Yeah, it's a middle of the road. Actually, this is the one I like here. Although is it not? Am I not signed in? Yeah, I'm not signed in. Are you kidding
While you're looking that up, I'm gonna go grab those blades to see what they actually are. It's kind of making me curious.
If it's Japanese, it's feather.
I'm pretty sure, but I'm gonna double check.
All right. We'll see. I don't know where I put my phone. Oh,
do y'all not like straight razors? Because my ex-father-in-law used to use a straight razor to shave around his beard, and those always made me nervous. The one that just has a blade coming out one side.
There's definitely a steeper learning curve with those. There's definitely a steeper learning curve, and I was not as crazy about that. I tried it a few times. It was a bloody affair.
But if you get a good safety razor and you use it correctly, you're not going to be shredding your face.
I haven't cut myself. I cut myself shaving maybe once a year.
Really?
And it's not bad. And the only time I do it is like if I get the corner of the blade, like, once you learn. Yeah, I've gotten pretty. I even got my son when he started shaving to do it that way. It's also just cool.
Yeah, it's nostalgic. It's cool, and like you said, it's more effective than a multi razor, and probably less expensive.
It's more effective, less expensive. It does less. It pulls less, so it's more comfortable when you do it.
Less ingrown hairs, less angry hairs. I hear.
Yeah, all that.
I use the soap and the brush instead of regular shaving cream, so I really need to get another one. But I've still got the crappy one, or the one that I didn't like, and maybe it was a combination of the blades. What you got there, buddy?
I was wrong. They're actually Russian.
Vostad or
Astra?
Vostad? Oh, Astra. Yeah, I got some Astra.
They're
middle of the road.
Superior Platinums.
The Astra are fine. I would say they're middle upper. But get some, if you're a sharpener, get some feather because they're special. They're like 4 times as expensive, but they're still cheap comparatively.
I'll have to do that because I bought a box of a ton of these, but again,
they last forever. They go a long time.
Yeah, I'm not shaving a ton, so I don't have to. I still have a ton, but I'll try to seek out some of those. And that's gonna bother me. I can't remember the name of the brand of my razor.
Yeah, the one I'm talking about here is Edwin Jagger DE89.
Edwin.
Is that the 38C McCurr?
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's similar to the DE89.
I just like that because it was hefty. It's got some weight to it.
Yeah, they're all pretty hefty for the most part.
And it was a reasonable price point. They're only like $50 or $60.
This Edwin Jagger is $23.32.
That's cheap.
Yep. Get that. Get the blades, and you'll get a better shave than the most expensive Gillette or Bic, or I don't know. I don't even know the brands because I don't use them. But
yeah.
Where
it comes down to where the money matters to me is in your actual your preparation, your lather and your gel and whatever how you like to prepare.
Dude, I just do it in the shower.
Oh man.
I do that to think with my little soap in my brush.
Yeah,
Here's
I
the
do that
B89.
boar's
Oh,
head brush. And
If I want to get fancy and get the lines really perfect, I'll do that. But
my skin's sensitive, so I have to make sure I'm prepping it.
well, what I find is 10 minutes in the shower is about as good a prep as you're going to get.
Yeah, you're gonna get the steam and you're gonna get a lot softer skin.
And all I do is when I shampoo my hair, I just run it down my face and use that. This is personal hygiene night here at.
We go through all kinds.
We jump into all kinds of stuff. I'm seeing them about $41. Does that sound about right, or am I looking at the wrong one?
There's different models. Some of them might reach up there. Some of them go down as low as 23. Just depends which one.
Nice. Well, y'all have inspired me to try again. Because I've got, like I say, I've got the shaving soap and I've got the little brush and the little kit, and I do that when I'm using my cheap Amazon multi-blade razors, but it's not the same.
Yeah, here's where this is the one where I was going to. Actually, they have one in New
York.
The Art of Shaving. That's where that's where I was getting a lot of my stuff from.
Oh, they're outrageously expensive. Don't go there.
Yeah, they're expensive, but they got a lot of cool stuff.
There's way more on Amazon. And there's a lot of cool stuff they don't have. For instance, they have a version of this Edwin Jagger that they charge like $100 for, and it's the same company. They give it another name. It has another, like it was another brand. But I think the Edwin Jagger, they were made in England. So it's actually really cool. I have another one I've been using these days, but this is one of my, this is a great beginner's one because it's not expensive. It really held up. It holds up pretty good. I would break them. What ends up happening for me is there's a stem in there that the stem, there's 3 pieces there. So there's the top piece, then you put the blade in, then the bottom piece, and then a stem that the handle screws onto and bolts it all together. Over time, because I do it in the shower and it's in the shower, not only for my shower, but everybody else's shower, that bolt corroded and broke off eventually, after like 5 years.
Yeah. I mean, I bought my razor probably 15 years ago.
Yeah. That's about how long I've been doing it now. That's about how long I've been in. Yeah. About 15
Well,
years.
Amazon's got all kinds of these Edwin Jaggers, and like 25 for a little short handle classic, and 25 for or 23 for a chrome short DE safety razor.
The thing, John, is once you buy a box of, you buy a box of 100 actual blades for it, that'll last you way longer than you think, and it actually becomes cheaper than doing all those stupid refills, Bics, and whatever those things are.
So feather razor blades, I just pulled them up.
They may not appear expensive, but they're expensive comparatively to some others. But if you're going to start with them, they're really sharp. They're just the sharpest. Astra's good. Astras aren't quite as sharp, and sometimes that's better if your skin's sensitive. So that might be a good fit.
10 blades for about $15. Yeah. Or here's a 50 count for some different high stainless. It looks like they got different grades.
10 for $15 seems high.
Yeah, they've got another one here that's 50 count for $18.99. Let me show you what I'm looking at. And we won't stay too long because I know I'm boring y'all, but they've got so many different feather brands here. They've got, not brands, but they've got the high stainless that are the least expensive. And then you find these that are professional hair cutting.
Oh, you don't, that's not. Yeah.
That's not what I want.
You don't want any parts of that. Yeah.
So I want these.
Yeah, those are the ones.
They're much cheaper. Yeah. 10 count, $6.80. Made in Japan.
Yep. That's them. They're the best.
Awesome.
They're the best.
I'll give it a try.
I think because that's the yellow and white ones, right?
Yeah. Yellow and black.
Red.
Oh yeah. Yellow and red.
Yeah. I had a sample pack of those. That's probably what I was getting confused with. But for me, I found that the more I try different things, that I have to have a good pre-soak with lather and for it to make it not just cut, but to actually make it so I'm not going to get any bumps or any irritation.
The Astra blades are just really inexpensive. Like, so here is 100 blades of Astras for $9.61.
Yeah. I think that's what I bought. 100 pack was my last one I bought.
Yes, I've been working through 100 pack, but I bought a bunch of samples. I bought like all these different brands to sharpness test them.
Yeah.
Do you guys prefer the classic handles or the shorts?
I like the short, but I've had the long one. It was fine too. I like the short a little better. It's a little more maneuverable.
Yeah, I'm kind of liking this. That's the one I'm looking at.
It's fun. It's like getting a new knife. It is a new knife.
Well, it is, and it's something you use a lot, right? Because you're shaving. I shave every other day because I'm still a boy. I'm a man cub.
Going down that rabbit hole is fun, though, Gary.
What's that?
So going down that rabbit hole is fun, though. There's so much stuff. But the weird thing about it is that sucks for me is because, again, I have to do all that prep. Is when I was working full time at another place and I had to do it, you know, basically daily. Just the time frame that it adds up. It's way more time invested than it is, you know, to do it other ways.
Not anymore. Not for me. I just do it in the shower. Things just sit in the shower. Whip, whip, wang, boom. You know, like.
Yeah, I was the quintessential, like, after you get out of the shower, hot towel, get the pores open.
Oh yeah.
Lather it up, you know, because the whole
Make sure your skin's all the way it needs to be.
Dawson,
Yeah.
I can't help what I am, and quit calling me a sensitive bitch.
So, Doug, who works for me, the guy that carries all the knives, he went through a stage where he was shaving with a Spyderco sage all the time.
Oh, how cool is that? That's pretty rugged.
Well, he got it sharp enough that
and he learned to hold an angle, I guess, pretty well too.
Yeah, yeah.
Is he one of the sharpeners that works with you?
Yes, he is.
It's definitely doable.
It's doable. Yeah.
I don't know if I want to do it all the time, but it's doable.
You got to keep up with it. Now, you know, and that one was just dedicated for the shaving.
That's cool, though. I mean, that's pretty rugged to be able to pop it out and just whip it from your pocket
and shave. Yeah, that was. You know, why bring a razor when you can do that?
Richard hit the nail on the head. What's up, Chris? Yeah, pretty much. The preppy jock.
What's up, drink water? What's up, everybody? I haven't been talking to anybody in the chat. I apologize. When I get Gary on, I just get so enamored with especially when he and Kyle start talking stuff. It's above my head, but I do enjoy soaking it up. I feel like I learned something. Hey, Derek.
Jeffrey Dawson says he's got the shaves like Jagger. Oh.
Dawson is a goofball. Very, very good dude, though.
Edgy, I wonder why there are no 1095 blades. Edgy's being a smart ass. That's what he likes to do. He likes to get in the chat and troll. So you got a busy week, Gary? Do you just run knives pretty much all week? Do you have drops that are on a consistent time? Have we talked about this?
Yeah, no, we haven't. Because they rust. That's why not 1095. The difficulty. So I'm a pastor. Is sort of my main job.
Right.
And so that keeps me busy. Usually Monday's a knife day, and occasionally Thursdays are knife days. So I'm at the moment, you know, then there's time in between too. So I'm not dedicating as much time as I would like. That's why the guys that help really do help.
Right. Because they're able to carry the ball while you're doing other things.
Right. And so like this, I got a guy, I thought his knife went out, but it was actually in the batch that went out today. But he's like, oh, I'm going to call the Better Business Bureau. It's been 10 days. Blah, 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 blah. And it's just like, come on, man.
Oh, you want to hear a funny dude about that same that same vein? I had a guy come in yesterday, a goofy dude, big, huge guy with a huge tongue ring. And I have no problem with tongue studs. but he was asking for a dagger. And I said, yeah, we got a lot of daggers. He goes, one with finger holes. And I was like, no, nothing with finger holes. He said holes. And what he was looking for one of those little Benchmades with a finger hole, which we had. He goes, well, I had to find it myself. And I said, excuse me, you said holes. You know, you described a different knife. It was a misunderstanding. And he was nice about it. But then he went and left a review, a 4-star review on Google, which I don't care about. But the owner that he and I have a kind of a different relationship called me and said, hey, man, this guy left a review saying that there was a miscommunication about blade holes. I was like, yeah, he's not a good communicator. I said, and I sold him the knife. He didn't get thrown out. I mean, what's the situation? Oh, nothing. I was just trying to figure out why he put 4 stars. I was like, because he's an idiot. Some people do that.
Some people do that.
Yeah, some people are just liabilities, not good customers.
Yeah. Yeah. Although I left a watch store a bad review one time. Like, there's like 2 people in the store, and there's this guard at the door. And I just want to go into the store, and like, oh, you're going to have to wait till there's an associate. I'm like, I don't want to talk to associate. I just want to look around at the watches. You know, it's high-end watch store. And they wouldn't let me. And I was like, okay. He's like, you're going to have to wait.
Valid time to leave a review because you're sharing with the public something that you didn't know you were going to experience. It was unpleasant.
Yeah. Like I'm not waiting for an appointment here, like to these high-end stores. And it wasn't a Rolex. They may have Tudor. I don't know if they had Rolex, but I was just like so frustrated. And maybe that's just how the game's played. But just the way the guy was, he's like, you're gonna have to wait. Because I almost just walked in and he's like stopping me. Because like it's a store, you know, that's what you do. You walk in.
Yeah, you walk in through the doors that say open.
So for watch quality, I'd rather have a Tudor than a Rolex, but for investment, the Rolex is where it's at.
Well, they're all probably more than I'm going to spend, but I just wanted to look, you know, I just wanted to look at them like a museum. And so I was frustrated. I left a review. I was like, dude, I just told you, dude, I'm not waiting for this. Get lost. Goodbye.
No, it's just, that's why we vote with our dollars, right? We choose who to do business with. And a lot of times there's certain people that don't do business with because I can't stand the human behind the business. It's rare, but it does stop me. I mean, I'm not going to buy a product from someone who I don't believe with any of their ethics or don't personally like them. I'd rather give the money to their competitor. As petty as that sounds.
And here's the other side of it. I'm not going to sell a knife to somebody that is being a jerk. I had a situation once where some dude from Sweden, I search my name on YouTube every once in a while just to see what's what, you know, if anybody's done anything or somebody new I don't know about, whatever. So every so often I search my name and see if there's any new videos. I saw this new short. I was like, oh, look at this. And so this guy's like, Gary Creeley's a scammer. I ordered the knife a year ago. Now the knife says it's going to take a year. I ordered the knife a year ago and I emailed him and he didn't get back to me. And again, my emailing causing me problems. But I did go back and look, and I had started to write him an email, and probably one of my kids distracted me, and I never finished it. So like I had a sentence written and then,
in draft, yeah,
and I just forgot to get back to it or whatever. And so, but anyway, he was calling me a scammer, and I was like, so I looked up his order. His pre-order. Now he only paid $35, although it was $70 shipping because it was in there. So he had paid $105 with the shipping because that's just how the store works. You pay the shipping when you do the pre-order
reservation or order. Yeah,
shipping's free in the U.S., so it's not a thing. But when it's foreign, there's the shipping's in there. But anyway, so I just canceled his order and refunded him his money. And I sent him a message. I said, I saw your video. I don't think you're going to want to do business with a scammer. So here's your money back, and best of luck to you.
And that's cutting your losses. Because, I mean, a bad customer for the wrong reason, because he was already in a bad mindset. So he was going to most likely continue to be a negative force in your plan forward for nothing that you did wrong. I mean, just to call somebody a scammer,
you know, so quickly and easily. That's an overused word. Scamming has a meaning, but what was interesting is after the fact, he was trying to talk me into selling him the blade, and why'd you go and do that? And and what I think he was trying to do was leverage me and get a free knife. And so, like as if I'd be like, "Oh no, you wrote something, you had a bad video." I almost did a response video, highlighting like, not my channel's not huge, but it was bigger than his. And so I almost did like a response video. Hey, this guy says I'm a scammer. And
Well, what people don't realize is to use that word, there's intent that goes behind it. Because we had a situation with somebody that's a friend to some and enemy to others who had a situation with the store, and the word scammer was thrown around when he had a bad
oh, I
business
know exactly what
plan.
you're talking
I
about.
don't think his intent was to steal thousands of dollars from somebody. I think he just got in over his head and was trying to figure out how to fix it, and a bad communicator. So I don't
Yeah.
like the word either. You can say bad businessman, made terrible decisions, cost himself business, hurt his reputation, but to call somebody a scammer is like the intent's there to deceive.
Like that was the objective from the beginning.
Exactly.
And what the
Exactly.
person you're talking about, John's, is not for at least from my interactions, not a bad person. Just made bad decisions in that scenario and handled it poorly afterwards.
Exactly. Did not do it. Did not handle
Very
it
poorly.
at all well.
I don't dislike him because of that, but I think it was if he had any PR training at all, it was handled very, very poorly, and it could have been a very, very small, minute issue if it was just handled better behind the scenes.
Communication,
but it also takes two to tango, and the other party I know tried, but at some point there is a here's give me
the rubber's got to meet the road. Yeah.
Right. Here's the final straw. Either deliver or I need money. And but all kudos. He made it right, and everything went fine. And there was proof of all that. But yeah, I've had bad interactions with a few people. I had so you'll get a kick out of this one, Gary. I had someone who was referred to me who had a very high-end custom, who was going through divorce and was selling off a lot of his high-end stuff to pay for lawyers' fees. And the knife was sent to me because he was having it sold at a third-party place. So the knife company sent it to me. They overnighted it to me. I sharpened it, got it out like in 2 days. They paid the overnight shipping back to the third-party seller. The third-party seller decides to get on the phone with this gentleman and tell him, how scratched his knife is, and that there's a odd coating on it that they can't get off, and this and that. So of course the customer freaks out. He reached out to me. He's like, they don't know what's going on. I want to know what the hell it is. So I talked to him. I said, hey, and they took a picture or video of it, showed me. I'm like, well, first of all, those are the scratches on the blade. Those were there when you sent it to me. I got pictures of the before and after. Those were there. Those are the picture, or those are the blade scratches. He's like, yeah, I know those were there. I go, there's no scratches other than those. Like, I've got pictures to prove it. And what they're talking about the finish was, as a courtesy, when I'm done with cleaning your blade, or done with your blade, I use KPL Knife Shield, wipe it down, buff it off so it cleans it, protects it. And going from Ohio in the wintertime to California in transit, that's going to change temperatures. It's just a little bit of fog or haze from the change in temperature. Take a towel with rubbing alcohol, wipe it off, and it'll be gone. And as a purveyor of that store, how are they that stupid to not know that they sent me that knife 3 days ago, overnighted it to me, didn't know that there were scratches on it. Then when they receive it, freak out because there are scratches on it that were already there, and didn't know that to even try to wipe down the blade with alcohol or anything to make sure that the quote unquote mystery fogginess substance was on there. There's a change in temperature. I'm like, you idiot. Now you're giving me a bad name because you're an idiot.
What kind of knife was it?
A one of two RJ Martin.
Customs. Okay.
Yeah, like a $3,500 knife.
Yeah, I mean, occasionally, and it is rare. Most of my customers are great. And, I'm often humbled by, like, I'll get an order from somebody, and I'll be like, "Man, I think I've seen that name. I think I've seen that name before," and I'll look it up, and I'll be like, "Dude, this is like his 9th knife," and so, like, yeah, it's a challenge. Communication is key, but there are limitations to that when when you're limited on staff and whatnot. It's some of the bigger companies are able to handle some of that stuff a little bit better when there's just people dedicated to that. Like for me, when I'm answering emails, I'm not making knives.
And you probably have a lot of emails waiting for you at all times.
There's a fair amount of them. At this point, I'm the only one that responds to them, and it's a challenge. It's a challenge in a smaller company like mine. And there are some people that think that like they want to have like 5 or 10 email exchanges about a knife they want to get, and I can't do that. It's not that I don't want to, because
you just don't
do.
have the bandwidth to do that.
Yeah, I can't do that now, but it can be a challenge, and communication is tricky. And then sometimes people will communicate with me on Instagram. Sometimes they'll communicate on Facebook. Sometimes they'll send it. The email form on the site is the best way, but sometimes they'll communicate something in a comment of a YouTube video.
Right. I'm trying to keep track of all of it.
Yeah, and so yeah, sometimes I don't, and usually I get to them though. Usually I get to them, but occasionally I don't. But and I almost always eventually get to them because I go through and catch up on what I missed. But yeah, but like this tonight, I got an email. A bunch of knives. I sold a bunch of knives to Knife Center at a knife show, and I thought they were all Magnamax, but one of them's Magna Cut. So this guy thought he was buying a Magnamax knife, and he got a Magna Cut knife. That's not a hard problem to solve, but so I got to get him switched out. But this stuff happens, stuff happens.
Yeah, those are just the little cost of doing business that you can resolve, right? You just switch the knives out, and you can probably sell the Magnamax.
The thing about that,
or the Magna Cut. I'm sorry.
Here's the offer I'm going to make to that guy. I'm going to say, I will. You can keep the Magna Cut for $100. You can keep the Magna Cut, and I'll send you a Magnamax knife, or just send the Magna Cut back, and I'll switch it for nothing. But
two solutions he can't be unhappy with either outcome.
Yeah, because that's an $80 discount on the Magna Cut. Just to say sorry, so you can keep using it until the next one comes, and you can use the next one, and you can compare them and whatever you want to do. So, or you might just want to switch them. Either way is fine. I like giving people creative options sometimes.
Yeah, well, it makes them feel like they've got more solutions, right? If you give somebody that, because he could even keep one and sell it, the one he likes less down the road.
I'll give it away.
Yeah, give it to a friend.
Yeah, whatever you want to do, because that would be almost half price.
Gary, the thing about the situation that the one I just mentioned that pissed me off so bad was now that I'm dealing with a third-party group who clearly doesn't know their ass from a hole in the ground and is giving bad information to clients that have been referred to me. And then by the end of the conversation with this gentleman, he was completely happy with me. He was pissed off with them. He's like, why are they doing that to you? And then when they listed it, they didn't even bother to give me credit for sharpening it either. They just put it up there and said, knife has been sharpened. I'm like, you dickheads. And this is not a small third-party company that sells knives. This is
Is it 3 words in their name, and the middle one has 2 letters?
Does it rhyme with Arizona Custom Knives?
No, it does not. But they put on a lot of knife shows. Put it that way.
Oh, okay.
World of Knives?
No, I already told you where it was shipped to. Out west. And what state?
California.
Yeah, and the purveyor of most of their knife shows out there is one company who sells knives and sells pre-owned knives.
Interesting. It's always interesting when I go to those sites and I see my knives that were sold off their sites, like on the secondary market. And yeah, that's a fascinating thing.
Doesn't it make you feel good though?
So, kinda. Sometimes I don't know how to feel about it because somebody sold it because they must not liked it.
Or a lot of times they see the return and it might make you think, am I selling them not enough?
Yeah, maybe. Normally they're selling for just below what they would be new, give or take. You know, they're in the neighborhood. I don't do discounts really, for the most part, because that just so much confusion. And plays games. Although I have a bunch of LC200 and Makos, and I'm thinking about running a pretty aggressive deal on them at Blade Show.
Yeah.
Do you know
that would be a unique situation because you're at Blade Show, right? So
Right.
it could be like show specials.
Yeah, it's a show special, and it might be very special. I haven't decided yet. But are you familiar with Mike Erie?
Yeah.
The name sounds familiar. Where do I know him from, Kyle?
He does the regrinds on Protex.
Gotcha.
He does that. Oh, he does a whole bunch of. He just
Right. I mean,
grinds.
that's where his main name that John would know him from would be.
He does a lot of OEM grinding for custom makers that say they ground it.
Right.
But he does a lot of grinding. And but he comes to Blade Show every show, and he has a case of like 15-ish knives. They're CPM 154, hand ground, usually like a nice burl handle or something, you know, glued up scales, and he sells them for $100. And he sells out very quickly.
That's an absolute steal.
It is it's ridiculous. It's crazy. He's probably got half that in the material or more.
Just leftover blades that just to resell though.
I don't know. I think it's just his thing, like just to get the, you know, get the sales going or something, you know, to pay for his table, or, you know,
just a loss leader to bring people into the name.
Yeah, or just my first custom knife that I ever purchased was a Mike Erie at a local knife shop here that's now no longer in business, and he sold it for $185, but he got it for $100. It's crazy. It's crazy deal that he does. But I tell you what, if you walk around Blade Show, you will find makers, and there's a lot of makers in the community who are making knives that are really good and selling them for way less than they should. And so, as I mentioned, this year, my objective is to go out and buy the highest value chef's knife that I can find while I'm there. You know, so much so that it's not worth me making it for myself.
Right, because you're getting such a good deal from someone who doesn't value their products enough.
Yeah. And there's a lot of, you know, makers that are extremely good, some of whom have been making for a very long time, who aren't charging enough because it's a hobby, and it's gratifying when people come and buy your work and line up to get it.
Right.
You know, like
it's a whole nother motivation if you're not doing it for income solely.
Yeah. Yeah. And eventually, if you want to make it a business, I think it is extremely difficult business model. And I think I've said this before. It's an extremely difficult business model to hand make knives, glue up scales, hand grind them, do everything in house. Even if you sent the heat treat out, it's very difficult to make enough knives fast enough to actually make a full-time living doing it that way. There are some guys that do it that have a real strong following, but you really got to get it up to scale to you know, like I said, I think I need about 2,000 knives a year to do that. No way I could hand grind 2,000 knives a year and
right.
and shape handles and glue up scales. And
yeah, I was going to say you got to knock out probably 5 to 10 a week just to make a decent wage, and that's not including, any expenses and stuff.
Yeah. Now there are guys that do it. There's a couple of ways they do it. One of the ways is they have a wife that has a good job, so they don't really need a dramatic income. Another way they do it is that they live in a really rural, inexpensive part of the country where they have very little in housing, and it's just
cost of living is much more manageable.
It's much lower. They drive an old car and they can live on less.
Yeah. Say you made 10 knives a week and your net was $100 a knife because you price it appropriate so you can get $100 a knife profit.
Right.
That's $48,000 a year net. Now you still got to account for, your taxes and everything else that you're claiming. But depending upon where you live, that could be salvageable. That could be a living, or that could be poverty. So,
and you'd probably need to boost that number closer to 8 a week, because you're going to be, if you're making 8 a week or whatever, you got to sell 8 a week too.
Right.
And so you're going to be at shows and you're going to be at different things. And then there's expenses again, like that's, if you could just stay in your house and make knives every week and by chance people buy them,
they would magically be sold at the end of the week.
Yeah. One of the things I tell my guys, I'm like, eventually, like we're figuring out how to make knives fast enough, but eventually we're going to be struggling to figure out how to sell knives fast enough. As we ramp up and, that sort of thing.
Yeah. Don't they go really fast right now though, Gary? I mean, as soon as you make them, aren't they pretty much sold?
They've been selling pretty regularly off the site. They come in pretty big batches of like 200, something 200, 300. So we make them, we kind of finish them off as they're ordered. Those ones where they're, getting the scales and going out the door that way. So I still haven't answered this question. I don't do drops. I just think in the long term, I don't know that that's viable. I mean, I don't know. Some guys Montana's still doing it, sort of, but most of their knives are available on their website, and they just drop more and more and more. So they're like during COVID, they were selling out real fast, but you can't rely on that, and then you gotta. I think for the long game, like relying in part on dealers, dealers help you when your other sales are slow. They'll absorb some of that so you can keep knives moving and, selling off your own site. Companies like Montana or TJ Swartz there's a whole load of them that exclusively sell on their website. Well, almost exclusively. And I just, and I haven't put a lot into like online marketing yet, because at this point I'm just meeting demand. I'm in a good balance right now.
Right. Right.
So I don't want to get out over my skis.
Well, with your online marketing, I'll give you free help on that. That's what I did for the last 15 years. But with the knife business, you're kind of limited. So social media is really your golden ticket. If you can, and you've already got the following, so you just build off of that, because Google has it as a prohibited category. For example, you can't run search on knives, which is unfortunate, but you can expand your market just with the tools that you've already developed, with a little bit of strategy that you could implement with a couple of conversations, and a few blogs. I mean, it's really not as tricky as it used to be.
No, it's not. It used to be like getting in the magazines and then like paying the known photographers outrageous amounts to do the. Yeah, it's different than it used to be. There was a question there by Todd Carr. I only do my own. Is it concave? Yes, it's slightly concave, but not meaningfully concave with the height of that bevel. But it is a 10-inch wheel, so there's going to be some concavity to it, to the final edge. Yeah, not totally flat like a stone would do. Although I would argue that freehand stone sharpening will add convexity to a knife edge. I don't care who you are. I don't care if you're like the Terminator. You're gonna convex it a little bit.
Yep.
It's just the nature of the beast. Now with a guided system, probably not. But yeah,
That's why I've got different options for what I do. Like I'll do some stones with bench stones and some on here. If I'm doing it customers that I know needs that I want to treat it like it needs to be precision 100% perfect, and I'm in the one to V, that I'm going to do this because I know that's going to put the better option on there for that person. If I want to do it quick, and I mean this actually takes longer than the bench stones, but it's a matter of what I'm trying to do for that type of knife.
Yeah. It's all about. I don't know if you guys know Michael Christie.
Yep.
Just talked to
I know
him
of
tonight.
him. I don't know him, but know of him.
Yeah, so he wanted some emulsions, so I hooked him up with some emulsions, and he was worried about the concavity of that thing. So I actually drew one of my knives in AutoCAD, and then drew a 10-inch wheel, and then basically put it where the edge would be to show the concavity. And over the amount of distance that is, maybe 20 thousandths, 30 thousandths on the edge, or whatever the height of that bevel is, it's a very, very minor amount of concavity.
It's not like you're grinding it concave. It's just a concave edge. And that's what people, I think, get confused about a lot of times too. It's how the knife is ground. It can be a flat grind knife with concave and still perform differently than a concave ground knife with a flat edge on it.
Yeah. My Omnivore is a chisel grind for the primary bevel, and I was going to put it like a full chisel down to a 0. But what I found is when it was ground that way, it drifted when you cut with it. So it's actually, the primary bevel is a chisel grind all on one side, and then I put a V edge on that chisel grind so that people can just sharpen it like regular.
Gotcha.
Oh, that's cool.
Now,
yeah.
Which side do you put your chisel on?
Depends whether it's for a right-handed or left-handed person. So they're specific to.
That was a trick question, and you passed with flying colors. Because unfortunately, you get someone like Emerson or some of these that only do it one side, and typically for a right-hander, it's the wrong side.
Oh no, it's set. You would hold the stuff with the right hand. The left hand, and you would cut with the right hand, and so the bevel's on the side that you would want the food pushed away from.
Right.
And then, of course, the left-hander, it's opposite, and we grind them both ways.
That's awesome.
Yeah, we grind them both ways. In fact, I believe that's going to kind of be my trademark for cooking knives. Is I'm just always grinding them. It makes it a little easier to get a more accurate edge, and we can take it down to just about 0 really easily. And then, and that's just our thing. Not a lot of people are doing it that way. It's some Japanese knives are that way.
Are you going to do a S grind on the back, the flat side for food release, or is it going to be just a complete flat chisel?
Just flat chisel. Gotcha. I think the S grind is not especially effective, in my opinion. I've used them. It's like, nah, this isn't.
I think it depends on the height of the blade and also what you're cutting.
I would say it makes it harder, but it may not. You might be able to hog off more material. Just thinking about grind, it just makes the grind. It does make it a lot more tricky, and there's more steps in the process, which makes it more. If it doesn't dramatically increase its cutting performance, I wouldn't want to spend that extra
dollars to make it happen.
Yeah. So, but man, I can get next to zero grind with actually sometimes Doug grinds those for me often. And sometimes he goes a little past the zero and there's actually a burr. And so sometimes what I'll do is I'll actually straighten up the edge a little bit just to, maybe it's 3/1000ths then sharpen it.
Just realign it.
Yeah, just so it's consistent. But that little knife it's a little expensive. It's $350. It's like a 4.5-inch. It's like a utility blade length, but a chef's knife shape.
That's not that expensive for a USA made knife.
Not for a USA, and that one's hand ground.
Which one's it called, Gary?
The Omnivore.
I got it. Right-handed. Here it is, right here. Let me pull it up. I use the left-handed one too. This is the right-handed.
I think I have a little video on it on my YouTube channel. Let's see if I can.
Let me find it. Hold on. I got your YouTube channel right here.
Yep.
Was it a recent video?
No.
Okay.
There's a guy I like watching who does kitchen knives for people right now. You probably have seen him, Gary. I think he might be in Philly. Was it Majimi Chronicles?
Oh, I'm not familiar.
He goes around he does a video like once a month, and he goes around to different restaurants across the country and finds a chef who's been through something and tells a story about it, and then he builds them a custom knife and then does the reveal on it. But
no, I'm not familiar. That's cool.
Yeah, he does a lot of fancier designs because he's trying to show off and stuff. But he actually sells some knives as well too. He's got a production version, and then he's got a bunch of hand ground customs that he does.
I put the link in the.
You put the link in there? Okay, I was trying to finally go over here and get it from the. I got it. Let me share it. Oh, I was on the right one.
Yeah.
That's it. Bang.
You can just play it. Short. I think it's short.
That showing?
Let me see. Yeah, it's 43 seconds. Yep. Go down.
What's it doing? I need to make it small. Hold on.
That's a nice cutting board. It's the one with the cutting board there. Creeley Blades, it says.
Is that the video right there that we're watching or not? Or is this one right here?
I can't see your mouse. Where are you?
Let me stop sharing again. Share. They might not be sharing the right thing. Hold on a second. I've got it on a separate screen, so I'm sharing right. This one. Is this it?
Yep.
I think this is the video right here that we were watching.
There you go.
Yeah. My computer's laggy. I apologize.
I see that. Holy mackerel. The internet's not getting down to Alabama tonight.
No, I think it's
But that's the Omnivore. That's a prototype one. That's an early one.
But so the chisel, I mean, hold on a second. This is
and that one's not a chisel grind. To all the talk of the chisel grind.
Let's go back and start it again.
And that one's an ABL. They're in MagnaCut now. See all these changes.
But you're changing with the times, which is cool. All right, it's working now. Let me get back over to it.
Oops, sorry. I'll unshare that.
Oh, are you sharing it?
I was gonna share something else to show Gary, but I'll wait till you're done with your video.
Well, now it's lagging, so it's not gonna. It's gonna.
Yeah,
screw
you can
me.
share the one you have.
All right.
I'm gonna stop sharing this one because it's. See if I go forward a little bit. Alabama internet shuts off at midnight.
There we go. I'll zoom in on that for you. But this is the guy I was talking about. This is some of his blades that he does.
Those are nice. Let's see.
Where's he out of?
I want to say Philly. I think he has done some. He's done some really, really cool stuff. But I'll show the YouTube channel as well too. But let me find
BG42. That's old school.
Yeah, he's done.
BG42 is basically like CM154, but it was made like by Latrobe.
Todd, I just got about 15 closed. I'm trying to close more as we speak. I didn't have too many open.
I get back to this and post it in the chat. That what I just posted is one of the videos he did recently or a couple months ago. Pretty cool knife.
Yeah, I like these. I like where's he getting the BG42?
From my understanding, he was a former chef, so he probably has some, and he did a lot of like Japanese restaurants, so he may have connections through that.
It's not Japanese though. It's an American steel that hasn't been made for 30 years.
I just meant with the industry, with restaurants and people and chefs and stuff. I don't know.
Oh, yeah. I'm talking about the steel that he's using. It's he must have found the stock of it or something.
He's been doing a lot of Baker Forge lately for like the fancy ones he's been showing off and stuff. But
let's see, Vitoko 2 carbon core. $1,500 for a knife that's made out of now some people will get very mad at me for saying this, but I'm going to say it anyway. For something that's really not dramatically different than 1095. It's much cleaner, it gets much sharper, blah blah blah.
The thing that's crazy though is you talk to a lot of those kind of old school chefs though, they want carbon.
They do, but they're wrong.
I don't disagree with you, but
sorry. They've never used MagnaCut. They've only ever used soft AEBL, and that's what they think stainless is.
Right. Hell, even custom heat treated AEBL would blow their mind.
Yeah, like a 64 Rockwell AEBL.
Yep.
With thin geometry, they're gonna be like, oh, let's get rid of that. Let's get rid of that carbon steel. I think the carbon steel is a little easier to sharpen, but it's also easier to dull by the same, mechanism.
And it's more time consuming to clean and take care of as well too, and oil and if you're putting it, if you're putting it in the sire, you got to make sure it's completely dry before you put it in there. And
you're paying for aesthetics. These are nice though.
Yeah, he does phenomenal work. And I posted his link to the video. He does some cool. But he also he has a cut, or not a custom, but a production knife coming out that was only like, I want to say, here we go. The utility one's $299 and the chef one's $449.
Where is that?
But it's BC42.
BG.
This says, what'd I say? BG40. Yeah. Sorry. The screen was far away.
Bravo Gamma 42.
But he's just using basic G10 and mosaic pins. It's not like anything fancy. But let me share that one.
I'm trying to see where is the. I'm on the site here.
If you go to all products,
it's
the first one or two. The Meraki or Marakai.
Oh, the Meraki series.
Yeah, that's his production knife.
Oh, that still looks nice.
Yeah.
And he's still using BG42. Where does he get this BG42?
I don't know.
It is, that was a Latrobe steel they stopped making like 30, 40 years ago. I got some from an old time knife maker that I, might be. make something out of
So
eventually.
you can't even get it in modern times?
No, not BG42. It is essentially 154 CM, but it was. But
I'm not even familiar with it.
154 CM, RWL 34, CPM 154.
It's all the same family.
These are all pretty much the same recipe.
Similar with 14C, AEBL, Nitro V. It's only slight variations in them.
Yes, they're only they're very, very similar.
Or it cracks me up as you get someone who argues with you that 20 CB is better than M390, and it's like, it's the analogous. There's almost zero possibility for you to be able to tell the difference if they were blind testing.
Yeah, and it's going to have a lot more to do with the heat treat and the geometry, and there's so many.
Paul, I would have to retrain myself on a Mac, but I'm ready to do it. I'm PC fatigued, and I use iPhones and iPads for everything else.
Really,
and
Paul?
Lefty stream seemed to go so smooth using his iPhone and his Mac. It all just kind of.
I'll tell you what, a MacBook Air, man. I got one for the shop to run the laser, and I got it on sale for like $700 for a brand new MacBook Air. It's really a good computer. Although if you have a lot of stuff open, a lot of windows open, you're doing quite a few things. You could bog down a Mac too.
Yeah, but if you had the Pro, you've got a lot more.
If you get a Pro, sure.
It uses processes different than PCs. I think PCs are kind of hoggy with Windows. I think Windows is a flawed system.
Apple ecosystem is phenomenal if you're in that. If you're trying to integrate between that and
PC stuff, you're
screwed. Google, Android, it's doable, but it's not as convenient. I'm Apple ecosystem, and it's so smooth transition between all the different devices.
Well, what is worth the cost of admission is AirDrop.
Oh yeah.
That's worth the price of admission right there.
So here's the thing too. So like right now, Gary, I'm on a Mac computer, but I've got a huge 34-inch ultra wide monitor right above my sharpener up here in the wall mounted, and my iPhone is above me, and it just connects wirelessly to my Mac and uses as a webcam for it.
Yeah, that kind of stuff, right? Yeah, it's very good.
Works so slick together. It really does.
But like that MacBook for $700, not even a Pro, just a regular MacBook. They have 16 gigs of RAM now, so they're not as RAM starved as they used to be. That's just a lot of computer for the money. I don't think they're that now. It was a sale around
you're exactly right. And my PC, even though it has 16 gigs of RAM, it doesn't use it nearly as efficiently as a Mac operating system does. So it's almost like having twice the RAM in a PC. PCs are sluggish.
The other thing is the Mac does memory swapping, so the hard drive's really fast. So when it gets in trouble, it uses the hard drive. It does slow it down some, but compared to other computers, it's pretty fast.
For me, my YouTube channel, it would be worth it for AirDrop, because I have to take everything from my iPhone and put it on my iDrive to then access it from my computer and upload.
Easy. Like AirDrop would just be bing, bing, bing.
Oh yeah, I do it with my daughter on the phone all the time when we're just phone to phone.
John, the best deal for you would be, it's the best deal in computers right now, is the Mac Mini right now.
Is that the little square box?
Yes, that's what I use. It's 5 inches by 5 inches. It's got Thunderbolt 4. It's got 16 gigs of RAM. It's got the M4 processor, the Apple Silicon chip, and that it's fast as all get out. And it's like 500 something, 5 and change.
It's about the same size as an Apple TV, a little bit bigger. I've seen those.
Correct. I've got one. It's absolutely freaking phenomenal.
What kind of hard disk? Actually, you can get a bigger hard disk if you want, or use an external.
I just use external off of it. I use let the internal one solely operate for like operating system stuff, and if I'm actually saving files and stuff, I use a external disk on it. And running off Thunderbolt, it's as fast as all get out.
I need to look into that when my times change a little bit, because this is it's getting more and more bogged down.
I'm not doing 8K renders on here. I'm not doing heavy graphics load. So the GPU is weak for that kind of stuff. But for everyday tasks and what we're using it for, it's perfectly fine. But you're also not expecting to pay that for if you're looking at you're getting your own dedicated extended GPU that's separate and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
Now my PC is not sluggish. I mean, I have a 4070 RTX 4070 card and a 32 gig. I mean, 32 gigs of RAM. So, like, I'm usually in pretty good shape.
Oh yeah, yours is beefed up.
You're using it for gaming, though, I'm assuming.
A little bit.
Yeah. And at that point, you need some of that stuff for the modern gaming. You cannot gonna do that off the Mini nearly as well. But
the I have a MacBook Pro and a MacBook Air, and for like video editing, and I still use DaVinci though. I don't use the app. I don't use the Apple.
DaVinci is phenomenal, and there are more people that are using DaVinci now, like in studios, than that are using Premiere.
I like the price.
Although this is it's getting ready to come out within like the next month. They're going to be offering as a service, as a fee. It's cheap. $13 a month. The key on that one, though, Gary, is it's not that you get all that. It's the fact that $13 a month is cheaper than I pay for my Adobe services, and you're going to get all of those options. I mean, you get everything. Plus, they're adding in Photomator because they bought out Photomator, which is
I might get it just because it's cheap to play with it, but
it's Photoshop cheaper.
Yeah, but it's not Photoshop.
From the people I've tested it, I got some photography friends, and they said that it does everything that Photoshop does. Just you have to get used to where to push the buttons.
Yeah, maybe. Like in photography, people aren't necessarily experts on Photoshop. They're more Lightroom. Like that's
right. I use Lightroom more than I do Photoshop. I've got both.
Yeah. Like I was using Photoshop to do photography is bulky. But what they don't have is they don't have an equivalent to Illustrator, vector based.
Correct.
So that's a pretty big hole that they need to fill. If they could fill that with something competent, I think Adobe's I bought Adobe. My son's a graphic design major at college, and I bought him the student thing, and it was still $400 a year or something like ridiculous.
They have a new suite now that if you get like every single option, it's like the mega bundle or whatever. I want to say it's like $100 a month or $70 a month, something like that. I mean, it's still up there, but you get access to everything. I think I pay like 17 or 18 bucks a month, and I got access to Photoshop, Lightroom, mobile versions as well, and then you get credits for the Adobe whatever your generative fill, whether you get AI stuff, you get credits for that. I think I get $250 a month, and then the cool thing though is they do have an option. So like that's how I created my website. You have a free, a basic free website that they host that you can create. I think you can do up to 2 or 3 for free, and they'll host it and everything, and it's all included in your subscription to that.
They're trying to keep those eggs in their basket.
That's retention there, buddy. That's all it is, retention.
Now you got to move your website too.
Well, I'm using mine basic as a landing page. I'm not doing any integration with sales or any of that kind of stuff. But the nice thing though is if you get good at Photoshop, then you can actually use the raw file tools in there. You can basically treat it like Lightroom, but just Lightroom's easier. I'm not messing with all this stuff. I haven't learned Photoshop well enough yet to screw.
Here's Jeffrey's best comment of the night.
Yeah,
he's nailing it. Master Splinter. That's funny.
Yeah.
All right, gentlemen. But I think I need to hit the hay. Sorry.
We need to bail. It's time. It's been 3.5 hours.
Oh my
And I
goodness.
appreciate everybody. Gary, I appreciate your time more than you know. And Kyle, I appreciate your time more than you know, buddy. You guys bring so much knowledge to the chat. And I appreciate it. I hope y'all enjoy talking knives, because I enjoy listening and learning.
Yeah, I enjoy talking knives. I got to do my own podcast that I haven't been doing lately with my guys. We got to talk about steel. Yeah, all the steel woes of the world.
What's it called, Gary?
Creely Blade something or other. It's
Is it where you find podcasts like on Spotify, Apple, or is it a video thing?
Both.
Okay. Do you do it through your YouTube channel?
I throw it on the YouTube channel, but it's on more of your traditional podcast.
All right, I'm gonna subscribe to it. So it's Creely Blades.
Yeah, you would think I'd know what it is. I may have a link on the. Let me see here.
I'm searching Spotify right now.
It should come up if you put Creely Blades.
Let's see what happens.
Creely Blades podcast or something like that. Let's see here.
Let's see. Spotify is slow to open on my laggy computer. Here we go. So how often did y'all used to do that? Did you do it bi-monthly, monthly, or quarterly?
Irregular. It's always irregular. But April of last year was the last one, so it's probably about time for one. I want
Who all
to
do you do it with?
4 or 5 times a year, just to sort of update people and have a.
Gary Creely, I just subscribed to it. I want to share it right here so people can see what it looks like. You just type in Creely Blades and you go to Spotify and
I just posted his website link.
Yeah, April 17th was the last one.
Yeah. Yeah. So all the Squarespace stuff. My store's through Squarespace. Squarespace hosts that. So I did a link. You're familiar with Linktree?
Yeah.
Yeah. I got banned from Linktree.
Yeah. Yeah. So did I.
For showing knives, having knives links.
I was like, but then I realized I could just put it on my website. So if you go to creelyblades.com / rather like your link there, just change podcast for links. And you'll get to my link tree on a phone. And I got RFID. I got RFID cards. That's what that was all for. So that, like at a knife show or something.
All right,
I've got one of those little tag cards, I think, and it's similar to that, where I can tap it to somebody's phone at a show, and it puts all my info on there. It's pretty cool. But for some reason, Linktree, I also got banned from one of my first affiliates, and then everybody dumped that affiliate, and I got back with my vendors, but they discovered what they called suspicious activity on my account. And all I used that account for was when I posted a video, I would go get an affiliate link from whoever made the knife and post it in my video. There was nothing at all suspicious. I knew Linktree was going to be a problem because they started notifying and canceling a lot of my buddies' Linktrees. I use beacons now. It's very similar to Linktree.
See you guys. Take care.
See you, buddy. We're out of here too. Gary, you got anything to part with these guys? Anything coming up that you want to know about?
Nothing at the moment. Nothing new at the moment. Just trying to
keep
up.
Is Instagram the best place to keep up with what's happening, or the website?
That's if I post something, it'll be there for sure.
Or y'all hopefully are following Gary, but I'm going to put it up here real quick before we go. And y'all give him a follow on the gram. Right here. But Gary, thank you again for hanging out. Yeah, I really appreciate it. You're a joy to learn from, and I appreciate the minnow. I can't wait to show you the unboxing. Will probably be live Friday, and then I'll have the review live in a few days. I recorded. I just got to paste it together tonight.
Okay, cool.
But guys, here's Gary's Instagram. Give that a follow, and then y'all look out for the guy or gal to your left. Please look out for the guy or gal to your right. Look out for each other. Go forward with love in your heart. Choose debate, not hate. I love you guys.
See ya.
Back in my bag, yo. Conscious. ISO. Diamond. Back in my bag and I gotta brag, I do this shit for real. When we was down and we had nothing, we had to share a meal. We put the shit in overdrive with no steering wheel. Shorty throw that thing back.